years I've been driving this train, years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stopped, never changed. All the squad here to play and I've got something to say, yeah. I work hard each and every day, I get lost in the words I say. I don't push pause, no I push play. I won't stop till I make a change. I withdraw on the things I make. I turn flaws into flawless traits. I build tall, never capping space. I won't stop till I hear him say,
Woo! I was into that music. I won't stop. Oh, okay. We're back. We're online. Okay, how's everybody doing today? Welcome back. Welcome back. I got into my own little theme song there. I was just kind of jiving and gyrating over here. Yeah. You know how you do that little seat dance? You know, I remember back in the days at the club when you were sitting there before a guy came over to ask you to dance and you were sitting in your seat just seat dancing. Yeah, you know? You don't know anything about that. There you go, Ellen V. I won't stop till I hear him say. Tell him, Ellen. Tell him, Ellen. You don't know anything. Well, I mean, okay, as a guy, I got to ask you. So if you've ever been to the club before, JR, did you check out the woman that was seat dancing and the one that had the best seat dancing? Did you go over and ask her to dance with you?
Nope.
Okay, so what? You're BSing me. You're BSing me.
Nah, I never looked at the seat dancers. To be honest,
Okay.
they're the ones that kind of made it clear that they weren't prepared to be spoken to. They're sitting down.
What?
They weren't looking to get up and socialize and mingle. So.
No way. You might be in the middle of a chicken wing. It could be anything, but seat dancing is like that's when you're at the club and the music is really hidden. You just gotta come on now. You gotta. What about when you're in your car? What about when you're in your car, when you're in your vehicle, and a good song comes on? You don't ever like see people in their cars over in the UK just seat dancing. Come on now. Hands in the air. Hands in the air. Party like you just don't care. Come on. Oh, you do. You do see people seat dancing. So it's not just me. You making me feel like I'm odd.
No. They make TikToks and everything while they're driving now.
Well, yeah. Okay, that part. But you are saying that you yourself personally, you have never went over to a beautiful young lady that was sitting at the club, sitting there with her girls or sitting there by herself, and she just like seat dancing. You was like, hey, don't you want to go out on the floor and just, do those moves on the floor with me? You ain't never said that?
Nah, not unless I'm seated as well. But no, I'm not doing that.
JR, sometimes I think you gotta live a little. You gotta live a little bit more. You gotta ease up. You like real proper sometimes. You just like real proper.
From the UK, it's how we do things here.
Oh, okay. Hey, Baby Dow. Hey, Ellen V. We got Baby Dow here from North Carolina. Oh, hey, hit me up on the DM. I want to ask you some questions about North Carolina. I'm going to be coming there soon, so I want to talk to you. Hey, Colton. What's going on? Ellen V's laughing about my seat dancing. Okay, so this is the other thing I want to say. I meant to say this last video. Go back and check that, guys. If you haven't seen it, Miss Iffy and I from across the pond, we just did our first video together on Love and Marriage Huntsville. So the season premiere was yesterday. So we did that. Go check that out. I wanted to ask you guys, those of you that have Netflix, have you guys seen Baby Reindeer? Have you guys seen that? Have you seen that, JR?
No, not yet. I've heard things about it, so I will check it out at some point, but I haven't seen it yet. Any good?
Yeah. It's good. It's beyond good. It's delicious. It's like the edge of your seat. It is like, I mean, if you've ever been stalked, I don't know, JR, if you've ever had a stalker, a serious stalker, a not so serious stalker, but I never had really thought about what would it look like reverse if a woman was stalking a man. I never really thought about that. So it really opened me up.
Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of it. a couple times.
Ooh, ooh, wow. That's interesting. That doesn't sound too cool. Where was everything? Did everything work out okay?
Yeah, I didn't get hurt or anything, but I think there's a double standard. Like it's probably taken more seriously when a guy does it, and
Mm-hmm.
then if a girl does it.
Right, right. Oh, thank you, LMV. Thank you for dropping that. Yeah, let the people know we got a Love and Marriage Huntsville review up right now. So go check that out, guys. Um, yeah, but because women have access to weapons and things like that, and now I'm thinking about it. I'm actually thinking about my daughter. Some of her colleagues in the military had women who I guess it's a form of stalking because like you can be intimate with a person, have a relationship, and when the relationship ends, then they come back and they kind of stalk you after the fact. Does that make sense?
Hmm. It can
Yeah.
happen. It can happen like that. It can happen
Mhm.
with someone that wants to have a relationship with you or likes you, and
Mhm.
you don't even know who they are. Or
Ooh.
it might be someone but they don't have the I don't know, they don't have the standing with you to even have a relationship, so they go and do this
LMV, watch your
backstory stuff.
language. I'm sorry. LMV, look at what
I
LMV
know,
wrote.
I know, I saw it.
Oh, LMV, come on now. Don't do that. Don't use that word so loosely. Like, JR is proper and I'm a little precise with the English, with the wording of things. You're a mess. Okay. I, I don't know. I'm gonna throw that one out. Can you make JR another one?
Do a
Just
few.
follow. It's follow that brings me to another interesting point with social media nowadays. Is
Hmm.
is social media following, like people follow folks all the time on social media, especially if you have a public profile, right? Is
Hmm.
that a form of stalking?
Um, I don't know. I think that's a tricky one. I think those who don't want people knowing about themselves or what they do, they put their stuff on private. If
True.
you're cool with any and anybody seeing your stuff, then you
Hmm.
leave it open. Um, but
Mm.
obviously, you also have the ability to block someone if you feel they're constantly hitting you up in your DMs or constantly liking your stuff and you don't like them. You can block them. So
Oh,
there's
okay.
things you can do to stop that, right?
Yeah, now that's true. And I'm wondering because I'm still new to Instagram. I'm still not understanding all the controls. I was better at Facebook back when I was into Facebook like that. But is there a way? So if you let's say your profile is on public, right? Is there
Mm.
a way outside of not just blocking the person altogether? Because let's say if you got a stalker and you don't even know who the stalker is
Hmm.
there a way where you could just post some things on your public profile that only your close friends and family would see? Is there a way to do that?
I know you can do it on Instagram, but I'm not sure if you can do it on Facebook. I've never tried it. I've never had a reason to. So, but I assume so.
Okay. Guys,
Because
drop down.
Facebook and Instagram are run by the same dude, right?
Mm-mm. I mean, I don't know. Maybe now are they? Are they now? Because at first they weren't. I didn't think. I don't know.
Where you can any
Mm.
video you share to your Instagram, you can share to your Facebook and vice versa. So,
True. Yeah, you're right. So it must be the metaverse or whatever.
hmm.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. I see where you're going. I see where you're saying with that. Hmm. Okay. I'll have to check into that. Guys, let me know. Drop down. Wait a minute. Ellen, she knows everything. Because see, she's tech savvy. Ellen V says yes, there is. Ah, good. I'm gonna have to work with you then. Because I think there are things that I want to do in that way. Let's see here. We got another cousin in the chat. Is that Adri? How do you say that name? JR. How do you think you say that name? How would you say that?
In the chat.
That's up on the screen. I got it up on the
Oh,
screen.
that's Ariadne.
Say it one more time.
Ariadne.
Ariadne.
Ariadne. What's up,
Ari.
Ariadne?
Okay, yeah, she's over on your channel. Hey, girl. Hey, hey. She says, I think there are settings on Facebook to keep it more private so people who aren't your friends don't see much, but I don't remember where to look. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I used to know how to do that too because I had certain things set a certain way. Or when you go to post, before you hit the post, you can actually go into those three dots and adjust it to only my close friends, so forth and so on. So,
Hmm.
um, and LMV is saying, yeah, Facebook does own IG and WhatsApp. Is that the reason why WhatsApp and my phone don't get along? Because Facebook owns WhatsApp.
Yeah, listen, it's cross. I think the giveaway is you can cross share your videos to all three, so it's got to be owned by the same dude. So yeah,
Uh, okay, okay.
they're trying to get all your information.
That Mark Zuckerberg, he's up to things again. That Mark Zuckerberg. Okay, well,
Mhm.
I'm telling you guys, if you haven't seen it already, go over and check out on Netflix. The show to check out is Baby Reindeer. That is a good one. It's very thrilling and psychological, like a psychological drama, right? So,
Uh-huh.
anyway, so what did you think of this week's episode of Never Ever Mets?
Ooh, this episode was actually uh very interesting. So many things going on with these different relationships now. Um, uh, a few of the couples, quite a few of them, are questionable at best. I think in terms of how far they're going to go. Um, I still only feel like there may be one or two couples who I think can make it, but the rest of them, we're going to break it down. But mm-mm, I don't see it working.
Yeah, yeah, a couple of them, they can start packing now. They can start packing now. I agree with you. I agree with you. Oh, and the other thing, I know the other thing that was on my mind because I didn't even do this today. I did not go down to over to Mexican Village, but happy Cinco de Mayo Day for those of you who celebrate. Happy Cinco de Mayo Day. It is one of my favorite springtime celebrations. However, I did not get over to get my authentically made Mexican food in Mexican Village here in Detroit. But
Hmm.
I love you guys so much. I wanted to be here to bring these two podcasts for you guys. So hopefully you're liking and enjoying, you're commenting and you're sharing and you're subscribing and doing all those things, right? But what did we think about we start off with Josh and Shay waking up in the intimacy suite, also known as what
The boom
JR?
boom room. The boom boom room.
The boom boom room, right?
Hmm.
What did you guys think of the two of them? They seem to be monopolizing that boom boom room.
Well, they seem to be the couple closely aligned enough to be comfortable to take it there. Um, so I don't blame them for taking full advantage. Nobody else needs to use it right now.
Yeah, I guess because who knows who's changing those sheets in that boom boom room? Hopefully somebody is.
Mm, maybe, maybe not. Maybe maybe they need some luminol in there to.
Aluminum. They need bleach. They need bleach and Lysol in that room. I'm telling you,
Mm-mm.
they need all of that. They
Mm.
need all of that. But they seem to be enjoying themselves. And after what 12 years, hey, what
Yeah.
is anyone surprised?
Well, that's the thing, right? I think some of the couples clearly aren't connected enough, or maybe not have been speaking to each other enough to know each other enough to feel like they can get to that stage. We've seen couples that they don't want to be kissed. Some don't want to even look in the person's eyes. So this couple, the length of time they've been talking, you know, they probably had every conversation under the sun multiple times. So now it's time to get to know each other physically and intimately for them in particular. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see nothing wrong with it. They're both consenting adults. They're both cool with it. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We're gonna get to them a little bit later too as being consenting adults. But what what transpired over those 12 years when they weren't seeing each other in real life.
12 years a
Okay.
slave.
A slave to what? I'm
A
gonna say something. I gotta
slave to
tell
the
you
laptop.
when they are eating, when he is eating his food, y'all can laugh if y'all want to, but I swear I saw prison like tendencies. I mean, my dude, like I ain't never been, but some people I know have told me like this is the routine. You drop down with your head, you take your left arm if you right handed, you cover around your plate, and you just scoop that food in real quick so you get all your food. I was like, man, look at him. Kind of reminded me of that, but
So someone gave you a tutorial on how to eat in the
no,
big
they
house.
were just telling me about it, man. I'm telling you, hey,
Why did
hey,
they
you
do
know
that?
what? I no,
Why did they do
no,
that,
they
Aubrey?
we all got
To tell
over
you
here in the
something.
States, over here in the States, 9 out of 10 Black people know somebody that has been to prison. Could be an uncle, could be a cousin, could be a hey, look at some of these women are purposely finding men in prison to date. So hey, don't get mad at me now. Don't get mad because somebody was telling me
Yeah,
what it was
that's
about.
true.
I wanted to know. I like to
That's
know
true.
about different cultures. I always do. I like to know about different cultures, but I have no
Oh,
expectation of ever going.
oh, so it's a culture. It's a culture now. Okay, cool. Because
It
I mean,
is. It is
there is what's it called? Love after lockup, right? So you got men and
that
women
absolute.
dating
That's
former
what I'm
convicts and
talking
stuff.
about.
And
Yeah, you.
obviously the way your legal system is set up over there, man, they're trying to put people away. So you know,
Yeah, yeah.
intentionally too. So
It's yeah, it's an industry. Let me just say this. In the United States, I don't know about the UK. I don't know if it's yet been deemed an industry over there, or if you have a small percentage of your population that is actually incarcerated. But here it is an industry, and when I really knew that it was an industry, because I always thought people were just talking smack, right? For real,
hmm
because I didn't really know until I did know, and that was some years. I didn't know anybody personally that had been incarcerated, but I was when I really realized intellectually that it's definitely a industry is when they said they privatized the prison system. So the
hmm
government, United States government, got out of it, and they allowed people that wanted to vend them the food, vend them this, and be vendors of that. And I said, well, that can't be good because we don't even know what those people's motivations are. Basically, if you're in business, typically your motivation is to make more money, right?
of course, and that's why you have people like bounty hunters and contractors and all
Exactly.
these different things involved in it as well. And you know, the system over there was set up to keep slaves uh,
Exactly,
in.
exactly, and a lot of people don't acknowledge that the reality is that laws were enacted to keep Black people, and don't say slaves because I get very upset. It's Black people, people of African descent who were enslaved. Because there's a difference between being slaves, being considered a slave, and being enslaved. Because see, when you say enslaved, now you got to turn around and look at who enslaved these people from Africa, right? But that's a whole nother story. We ain't gonna go that deep into that. That's a whole nother story. Don't get me talking about that. But anyway, back to these Josh and Shay. I think we covered them. So we're gonna move on to the next one. The next thing is we see Elder Aaron H and Diamond decide to invite Sienna and Brandon out to communicate about their communication skills. What did you think about this scene?
I think this was an intervention from one of the couples who had noticed um, some things that didn't look good, and I think they took it upon themselves to try and break bread and maybe give um, some counsel or some feedback. You know, see
Mm-hmm.
if there's any like get to the root of the problem, and it was met with um, some hostility from Sienna's part. She don't feel like anyone can tell her that communication is the problem, you know, which it clearly is, as we find out later, which we'll get to. but it's one of the problems that they have, and I don't think she welcomed them trying to help in that way, and
Oh,
and I
mhm.
also think that Brandon may have probably not had a problem with them offering their opinions or whatever, or their
Okay.
thoughts on it, but Sienna did.
Mm. I thought one of the thing that came out that was interesting is during this conversation with the elders of Aaron and Diamond, we kind of Sienna kind of opened us up to the idea that Brendan has a nervous laugh, and he admitted that yes, he does laugh, and so Sienna, in her insecurity, maybe thought that the laughter was at her and not with her, or not just a nervous component of his personality. What did you think of that? What did you think of his laughter? And have you ever been in a situation where somebody is laughing and you're trying to be serious and it's frustrating for you?
No, actually, I can definitely say I've been in that situation. I don't call it a nervous laugh because
Hmm.
at that
Okay.
point, if I'm laughing, then it's either I'm gonna get mad or I'm gonna laugh. Like I have to laugh, otherwise I'm gonna get mad. So
Oh.
say for example, someone's talking at me or they're going off on me for whatever reason. I've
Okay.
already tried counting to 10. I've already tried to just keep my composure. And
Okay.
then when it starts to get too insulting or anything like that, then yeah, I'm like I have that laugh too. Because if I don't laugh, because I'm literally laughing like saying, "Now this person crazy.
Okay.
I can't
Okay.
believe this. I can't
I know.
believe that
Go
that
ahead.
that this person's going off on me." And I'm sitting here listening to this stuff. That's what the laughter's about for me. Like,
Mm.
so if I get to that point, then I've already
Ooh.
tried doing other things to calm down and or listen, and
Hmm.
that comes out. But it
Ah,
isn't
that's
nervousness. It isn't
interesting.
nervousness. It's a way to
Kind
it's
of
almost
relax.
like disbelief that
Oh,
I'm
okay.
actually sitting down being berated and I'm listening to it,
Wow. Okay,
surprised at
that's it.
myself.
Yeah, that's interesting because I could see with this couple, with her being as explosive as she is with him, I could see him kind of using that as a relief, if you will, or as a maybe a better word, a release valve, like a release valve to just say, okay, I'm going to get this chuckle because I can't believe this girl is actually this crazy. She called me a B twice. What? Like, yeah, I can see
Hmm.
that. But I'm beginning to see like some cracks. So I've said this and I got to say this now. So I'm not condoning Sienna. Her personality, her temperament is very childish. It's um, it's not a good look. It's not a good fit, and I don't think it's going to help her in the dating marketplace. But on the flip side of it, I also don't think what's not going to help him, I think, is him not having a backbone, him not having any healthy boundaries for himself, him not being able to stand up. If he can't, here's my thing as a woman, I'm thinking if I were dating him, if he can't even stand up for his own self, how in the heck is he going to be my protector as a woman? Like, how does that work?
Well, it doesn't work because if you're going off on him, he's not going to protect you. You can protect yourself. And I think the backbone he needs to show is to up and leave that relationship immediately before it gets worse. Because she's not gonna stop. It's gonna
Mm-mm.
keep getting ramped up. So the best way to show his backbone is to terminate that relationship immediately. He's seeing this now, like they've been talking for however long, and the
Mm-hmm.
moment they get around each other, the chemistry is not there. There is no chemistry. There isn't. They failed the intimacy challenge last week. The communications being pointed out by other couples as being a glaring problem, enough for them to intervene.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and when they've sat down one to one, it's led to hostility. So he needs to get out of there. That's the backbone he needs to show. He doesn't need to say, listen, I'm your man. No, he don't need to do none of that. Get out. You're not invested enough. Get out.
Get out.
Theory.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah, because in a couple of the scenes I'm noticing when someone asked him is she worth it? And he says no, she's not. I'm like, okay,
exactly.
So why are you still there then? Like what?
Yo, he's seeing this for the first time. Remember, this is the first time they've met. So
Right.
I
No, no,
think
no.
he's given. I
Yeah.
think in terms of seeing her while out and lose her temper and all of that, I don't think he's seen this side of her. I
No.
think they. I think from what we've seen, both of them say their online interaction was cool. But now that they're around each other physically, we've seen her weaponize stuff that she knows about him. We've seen her call him the B word twice.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen her have no problem raising her voice and going off on him. And we'll get into other things she's done as well. So, yeah, like I said, backbone that he needs to show is listen, it's not going to work. It's over. It's done. I'll find someone else. He got kids to think about. He can't bring this person around his kids. Um, he can't have this person in his life. He needs to get out of there. Like,
Right.
it's not worth it at all. Definitely not. And it doesn't matter how brown skinned she is, how pretty her smile is. None of that matters at this point. She doesn't respect him. She doesn't like him. She can't control herself, can't control her temper. No, he needs to get
Miss
out of there.
Iffy. I'm gonna throw the hold on a minute. I'm gonna throw this link in the chat and you can come up and tell us about it. I think I got this copy. Hold on. Cause like I think I understand your point, but I'm not 100% sure that I do. Let me see if I can do this. Hold on. Yeah, come on up and explain your point, dear. Just real quick. I know you got some hot plans for tonight. Copy and paste it. Can you grab that and pop on up
In the
here and tell us?
meantime, I'll just address that. Um,
Yeah, what she's
so
saying.
yeah,
Okay.
they don't right. So the thing is, there will be some people that resonate or empathize with this type of attitude and behavior from this particular lady, right? So I get it. They don't understand why she would be classed as the villain in the situation. But as a guy, from a male perspective and seeing what she's doing to Brandon, now she don't need to be in a relationship. She needs to go and get over what she's gone through. And imagine that he was the Dominique type of person, right? If she raised up
Mm-hmm.
on him, got verbal with him, and all the rest of it, we see how that
Ooh.
behavior can go left.
Mm.
So, yeah, I don't think she needs grace. I think she needs to go and find a place to um, therapize, whether
Terrified.
and
I
do it
think they
away from
both
Brandon.
do.
Yeah, do
Honestly,
it.
to be fair, I believe they both do. I think like to Miss Iffy's point, she's the most obvious with her flaws, with her need for therapy. But I also think he needs it too because there is no way. Like I keep thinking like what happened to him? What's going on? What was going on in his home as a child? Like
Yeah.
what happened to him that he has no voice? And even his friends know this about him. Like his friend, and we're going to get into that in a little bit. When his friend Matt comes to visit him, he's
Hmm.
basically looking at him like he's crazy. Like she called you the B word, and you like he was giggling about it then. So I kind
Yeah.
of I do
I
see
don't.
Miss Iffy's point.
I don't think being calm and mild mannered is a problem. I think what his problem is, he's giving her too much grace. So it depends. If you want someone to give
Yeah, no, it's
that person grace and overlook the transgressions to a certain point,
hmm
overlook the flaws, then you can't chastise him for giving her that time to show him something different. At the same time, if she's been given that grace and she's not pulling her socks up and saying, "Listen, she's too crazy," she's too ready to go off. If she's not seeing that herself, then there's nothing he can do. It's not his problem. It's hers. Just like if you had a guy who was in your life and he had a bad temper, he was prone to rages. Um, he would cuss you out, call you the B word, and all the rest of it. You're not going to be like you as the victim of that. You can't be
hmm
blamed for that. You
no,
can't say you can't say to that woman, "Well, why are you staying with him? It's your fault because you're allowing him to call you a B word." No, you're going to say he's the problem. You need to get away from him, and he needs to go and get some serious help. You can't be in a relationship with him right now because
But
you'll escalate.
JR, two things can be true at the same time. You're right. It's not my fault if what you're saying, the scenario that you gave, this guy is a friend of mine, or we're dating, and he starts calling me the B word, calling me out of my name, being very verbally abusive. It's not me who's wrong. It's him that's wrong. But the two things that can be right at the same time is, as soon as you said that, my automatic thing, I almost did one of your numbers. I almost chuckled, because the first thing about that is,
Hmm.
male or female, when somebody starts calling me the B word, we're done. Okay, so it won't be no second time, no third time, no fourth time, because it's a scratch on the first time. That's the first thing. So
Hmm.
I'm saying that two things can be wrong at the same time. Like, she's wrong for being verbally abusive. She's
That's
wrong
it.
for being explosive and always jumping up and hollering and screaming at him. She is wrong, but also he has some issues, and we can't ignore that, because whether it's with her, she can walk away, they can both walk away from each other, but he still takes him with him wherever he goes, and he's still going to be that same spineless man with any woman and any person that he gets with,
No, I don't. I
and
don't
it's going
agree.
to happen. It's going to happen again.
I don't agree. You can't call him. You can't call him spineless for um, sitting there, giving her the opportunity to get to know him after so long of online dating. I don't agree with that. But what I will
Okay.
say is, because again,
Okay.
like if it was the other way around and we had an abusive guy abusing the girl, we can't say she's spineless because she's staying in a relationship with him. Nah, we have to say that she needs to get out of there because she's being emotionally and verbally abused, right? So she needs to get out of there. We don't say she's a spineless jellyfish because she's still there. So we can't do that in this instance. Like violent, like abuse is abuse, right? And
Yeah.
I feel like he's given her a certain amount of grace. They've met. This is them meeting each other for the first time,
In person,
and
right?
what she's present. Yeah, this is what she's presenting to him after they've been talking for a lot longer, and she's shown him something different.
Okay.
So she hasn't come into the relationship or situation hot, volatile, hostile. No, they had a chemistry. They had some type of bond that kept them trying to build a relationship for a certain amount of time. And
Yes,
then
I agree.
now that is in jeopardy because the moment they get around each other, which is something they've probably both been looking forward to, now she has immediately gone to, she doesn't respect him, she doesn't like him, and she's hot and hostile with him. So, and it's not even like I'm trying to exonerate him from having flaws. I'm saying that regardless of his flaws, he's not being verbal abusive. He's not cussing her out. He's not irate. He's not even matching her energy.
Never. No, he's not.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. Let's address the major problem in the situation because I'm quite sure if she wasn't so hostile, they would have a better chance of working.
Oh,
Right?
absolutely.
Exactly. So that's the problem. That's what needs to be addressed. She's too hostile. She doesn't respect him in private or in public.
No.
She's not even attracted to him enough to want to participate in an intimacy task anyway. So all of these things building up, there's no chemistry. It's not going to work. And the longer he stays, the more she's going to be emboldened to escalate her behavior towards him. So he needs to get out of there. That's where he needs
Yeah.
to show us that spine. That's where he needs to get that strength and say, listen, it's been cool. Yes, you're probably a nice person, but you're not my person. You need to go be with a Dominique or be with someone who will treat you the same way that you're trying to treat me. Because you're supposed to treat people how you want to be treated. And
That's right.
if you're treating him like that, then that's probably what you want as well.
Ooh, yeah. Someone did say in our chat, I think I had it up on the screen a few minutes ago, that on the interview that Dominique said that Sienna told him that he was more her type. So I mean, hey, not have at it. If that's your type, girl, have at it. Cause, but
It's
anyway,
not.
we're gonna move forward. I want to get your opinions about. We're still on Sienna and Brandon, right? But now the house is kind of talking, having these individual conversations about them, not to them, but
Hmm.
about them. What was your
Hmm.
take on that part of this week's episode?
Again, very telling. The reason why they're talking isn't because they're in admiration of their connection. They're talking because they're very concerned
Yeah,
about where it's going to so early as well. But the fact that it's going to these levels, it's got the whole house talking about it. And that's why when they played that game, it was their name that kept coming up as the couple that need therapy and the couple that
yeah,
need
needs
work and all the rest of it.
therapy.
Right.
Most
So all the
combative.
couples are seeing this. It's not just compartmentalized into something that she's doing to him in private. Everybody is saying the same thing. And they have
Yeah,
no horse in the race, right? Their relationship don't impact nobody else's, but they're all saying the same thing. This needs to stop because she's wilding out on him, and
yeah.
he can't do anything other
I
than leave.
can't I can't believe, like, I had enough problem with, like I said again, and I don't condone any verbal abuse from any person, man
Mm,
or woman. I had enough problems with Sienna when she was calling him the B word when they were in the room, in the billiards room playing pool, right? But
hmm
what I was really even more knocked out and floored by is how she is so willing to easily disrespect him in front of the rest of the house. So, like
hmm
someone said, like she doesn't have respect for him, and that much is very clear. And I can say to anybody, when you see someone, a woman that doesn't respect a man, uh, that's not going to end well. That's not going
Right.
to end well. That's not
I
going to
have a
end
theory about that. What I
well.
think she's trying to do is when she wiles out, I think she's looking for support from the other women in the circle as well. So when she's going off on him in public, she knows that she's not going to get chastised by the men or the women. Like that, she doesn't have no even when they were around the table and she was weaponizing his situation with his previous relationships, previous marriage, the children, all that stuff. When like
Right.
she was so surprised that none of the women were taken up for her, and she was actually being told, "Nah, like you're like what you're doing is wrong. What you're saying is wrong. Like
Yeah.
you can't be trying to use that to bring man down. Like what are you doing?" And she was surprised by that, and she still doubled down, even though she was being told that she was wrong by her fellow sisters in the circle. So yeah, like she's wild.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's what Ellen V is saying. She is wild. She wilding out. Like she's that person, it's gonna take her hitting a brick wall several times and maybe like into her 40s, 50s, and 60s, and she's still gonna be trying to figure out, but I'm so pretty. I don't understand why he doesn't want me. Like, no, sis, it's not just your physical appearance. And I will say this, I think that Brandon is very much smitten by her physicality. He is very much smitten by how beautiful she is, her figure, her face, her skin, her hair, whatever. He is very much taken by it to the point where and I think that's another one of his issues that he struggles with, is not seeing the person just on the outside, but you've got to literally be able to have intimacy, see, like Sean always says here on the channel, you have to be able to see inside of the person. Are they beautiful on the inside? Because if they ain't beautiful on the inside, all that other stuff don't make two hill of beans. It don't matter. It don't matter.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this is the problem, right? We are genetically wired as men to be attracted to your physical,
I call
very high
I
up
call
on our.
poppycock on that. I call poppycock, but go ahead.
Listen, I'm sorry, but I'm telling you from a male's perspective, the
Okay.
first thing we see is not your personality. And even once we've established that you're very fine and attractive physically, sometimes we overrule the liking your physical more than your personality. And that doesn't mean that we necessarily want a relationship, we want to marry you or anything like that. No, it's just the way that we put things into a different order. For women, it may be different. You can be with someone who you're not necessarily physically attracted to, or you don't like elements of your personality, but you can grow to love him or grow to like him, right? A lot of women have that mindset. Guys don't
let,
work that way.
let me tell you something. Let me use this as an example, because I think this is why we as a community is why marriage is for white people. Okay.
Mm,
And I say it's for white people, and I'm also say it's for yellow people. It's for other people in this country, because as long as we sit with these ideas that our predecessors have passed along to us, that we've
mm,
gathered from rap music, that we've gathered from social media, as long
mm-hmm,
as we have these weirdo ideas, we will always be single people, single moms, single dads for the most part. Because here's
mm,
the thing. So my coworker comes up to me the other day. We're chit chatting. Now, we're women about the same age, and
mm-hmm,
she was sharing with me that her one and only child, which is a daughter, recently got married. Now, her
right.
daughter is 23 years old, going to school to be a doctor, right?
Mm-hmm,
So she's talking. I said, "Could you have pictures?" She showed me the pictures of the wedding, showed me pictures of the groom, her and her husband. And
mm-hmm,
as we're chatting, I'm recognizing that this woman is of a different culture.
mm-hmm,
She is from the Indian community, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
And so I asked her, I said, "Do you mind if I ask you, is this an arranged marriage?" And she hesitated for a second, and she said, "Yes, it is." Because I asked her, before I asked her that, I said, "How long did your daughter and her fiance, her husband, how long did they date before they got married?" And she said, "Oh, about a year."
mm-hmm,
And then I said, "Okay," because I watched the show. I don't know if anybody else watches the show, Indian Matchmaking. I love that show. That is a great
mm-hmm,
reality show. So we know that in certain cultures, arranged marriages are very prominent still, right?
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
These two young people, both in their 20s, he's about 2 or 3 years older than her. So he is not much older than her. He's not a sugar daddy type. He is also in school getting his master's degree. He's an engineer for General
mm-hmm,
Motors, which here in Detroit is a very big deal. Okay.
right. Mm-hmm,
They're both on the right track academically, educationally, professionally, and they're married. But see, you see in other communities, they don't treat their men like we see in the United States. Black women and black mothers are always saying, "Well, oh, he's only 30. He's still got so far to grow." Like, when do we expect our young people to get married? At 50? We expect them to have their first marriage at 50? Are they going to be able to have children then, if they're a woman? Like, this doesn't
this
make any sense. This doesn't make any sense to me. Yes, if
the
they're a man, but not if they're a woman.
the sad part is the culture seems to be like the black culture seems to be um, on the receiving end of a targeted attempt to not allow nuclear families to take place, right?
Yes.
Um, so yes, in other cultures, and they've experienced colonialism and all these other different things as well. But there are other cultures, like you said, Indian and South Asian and all those communities.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they have a different cultural, religious, and lifestyle to any other place. That's what makes them unique, right? And in
Mm-hmm.
their culture, their families are usually friends or know each other. When they have their children, they make a deal or a pact that says, okay, well, I want my son to marry your daughter. This is done from a very young age,
It
before the
can be.
children even know. Yep, right. So what
It can
happens
be.
is they've already made that deal that this wedding is going to take place in 20 years' time or whatever. And so that child grows up knowing that their purpose is by the age of 20, 23, whatever the case may be, whatever's been arranged by the parents, they don't have any say in it, right? The parents have made this decision.
That
So when they
that's
get to that 2023 age, whatever the case may be, they
okay.
already know that this ceremony is going to take place. This is who they're going to get married to. The families have prearranged it. The whole dating thing is not a precursor to whether they're going to get married or not. It's already been established, regardless of what they look like, but at that age, regardless of where they are in terms of their education, study, career at that age, all of that stuff, it goes out the window because it's already been predetermined and decided what they're going to do in terms of marriage.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's a huge difference. I don't think that type of structure and that type of uh, um, pathway is set in the black community at all in terms of like Western countries. You might have that still remaining in the African continent. On many of the countries there, they may have different tribal um, um, elements that are similar to that because they are based on their traditions and cultures. But in the Western world, it's a stretch if you think we're going to be able to emulate anything like that,
No,
because again,
no.
it's a different system.
Okay, let me interject here now for a second. So, a couple, two, three things that you have said that from my South Asian friends is we think is correct, but is not correct according to my friends. One, they don't always and oftentimes make these pacts with the other families. Like, so let's say, talking about the mothers and the fathers making the pact with another mother and father over here that has a son, we have a daughter. They don't often make those pacts when they're very young. We're not talking 18, 20 years, like when they're first born, when they're toddlers. Two, the adult child has a say so. They have a say so. They can say no. They can agree that this is not the person that they want to marry. They can date and they can say, no, this is not the person. And in other words, so if there's no physical chemistry, there's no, that person isn't appealing to them. Maybe their career path is not, like I said, this young lady is going to school to be a doctor. So she wants someone that is intellectually stimulating, like myself. She's a sapiosexual. She doesn't want someone that's going to come home and tell her something mundane that she can't relate to. This is a very upwardly mobile young couple, right? So no, it's not always set in stone. It's not always picked out. When they're little bitty children, they can be families that meet, and when the children are in their teens, their late teens, their early 20s. And you're right. The goal is that the key thing I think that you made note of that I do agree with is that these are parents and households that are setting their kids up and preparing them to be married, to be husbands, and for the women to be wives. And they're also, by example, because they're living in two-parent homes, they are seeing what a two-parent home actually looks like. So yeah, those are some major differences in families of South Asian couples and communities versus African American couples here in America. That is you're right. And to Miss Wilson's point, I absolutely agree. You're right. There are too many single Black moms that make their single sons their head of household.
Mm.
And to that point, because we're not going to just focus on the moms, I've got to say that there are too many single Black dads that are not spending enough time nurturing and teaching their sons about manhood.
Mm.
Okay.
Well, I have to say, listen, I know tons of. I mean, I'm from the UK, London. We have whole communities, literally each each street where I live, you have different communities, right? You have Indians, you have Pakistani, you have Nigerians, you have Ghanaians, you have Somalians, you have Polish, you have Italian, you have Spanish, all within
Sounds
a
like New
small
York.
radius. Yeah,
Sounds like
but
New York.
let's listen. New York is probably larger than where I live. We are all condensed in a small area, so we interact with each other through
Ah,
schooling,
okay.
through
Gotcha.
college, through university, through life. Going down the street, you may see 4 or 5 different ethnicities, people who you're cool with, who you've known for a long time.
Right,
It's a
right.
lot different to anywhere else, right? So we do learn about other cultures and stuff like that. So I have
Okay.
to say there may be nuances to where you guys are in the States and anomalies, but I'm telling you, from a traditional standpoint, if a child who's been preordained to have a arranged marriage decides to not go through with it or pull out of it, or they're not feeling the person and they listen, the ramifications that can have in that family can lead to very severe consequences. It's called
Mm.
honor killing and things like that, right? Because you've
Ooh,
dishonored the family, because the
ooh.
family have prided themselves on what you're going to do in terms of getting married and all that stuff. So it does happen, and it happens at a high frequency. It's usually the fathers that will take umbrage, take severe issue if their child tries to go a different path, right? So
Ooh, okay. Okay. Now I have heard of
they
that. I
have
am
to.
aware that
So
it exists. You're
yeah,
right.
right. So there are cases where they might say, yeah, yeah, you know what, I'm not going. I really don't like the person. No, you're still going to get married anyway, because a lot of hope and family, um, they've been
Honor,
working
honor,
towards, yes,
honor.
honor, right?
Yes.
Depends on you fulfilling this union. If it doesn't work, right, then yes, that's cool. It like I think the fact that you've gone ahead and done it, and you've tried, and you've then that takes a lot of the heat off if it doesn't work. But if you think you're gonna go out there and say, "No, I'm not feeling it. I'm not going ahead with it," it's a different thing. And I think
Mm,
you watch 90 Day Fiance, right?
I
Now
do.
there was the Indian chap who was with the older, much older
Yes.
Caucasian lady,
American. American.
right?
Yeah.
Now
Yes.
the whole way they got together, he had an arranged marriage, right?
He did. Yes.
Now, what did he do? He got talking to this lady. She flew over under the guise of being a friend from another country who's just staying there for a while.
Stayed with his
Really,
parent. Yes, he did.
right?
Yeah.
He was having a whole secret relationship where he lost
Affair.
his virginity. Yeah, to the American lady, not his wife.
Oh my God. That. Oh. We got.
So, so,
Oh
so,
my
so,
God.
listen. He was married already, and
Yeah.
he
Well, how
hadn't
is he
lost his
a virgin
virginity.
though? If he's
because
married
they
to.
because again it wasn't like it's the whole it's the
Arranged.
tradition, the culture of the marriage that was important, not necessarily the chemistry between him and the bride, right? So when she
Mm.
came over, they did the do. What was the parents reaction when they found out about this, when he told them what was really happening? The mom in
Oh, they
particular
hit the
went
roof. They disowned
absolutely crazy,
crazy. They
right?
disowned him, I think, for a while. They didn't even speak to him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying to you. So it's not this thing where they, a lot of the time they can go out and choose who they want to date. And if they do, it's in secret. It is not out there where they've made a choice and they're saying, "Listen, I'm standing against you because your culture's outdated. I want to go and date." They can't do that. They'll never be able to do that. They have to go along
Well,
with it.
okay.
And
Okay. We're gonna get back.
the
We're
point I
gonna
was
get
trying to
back on
make is
track. We're
in
gonna get back
American
on
in
track. Go
African
ahead.
American culture and Western
Hmm.
culture, the
Yeah.
structures are not set up. Like you said, the main thing that seems to be affecting marriages in the black community is the fact that yes, the fathers aren't often present. That could be for a couple of reasons. Maybe he's been incarcerated. Maybe he wasn't the type of person to have a relationship
Most
with,
of these guys
and
are
vice
just
versa,
not
and all these.
there. They're just not there.
Right.
It's
And
not
it works the
always
other way.
one
You
person.
got deadbeat moms, you got deadbeat dads. They're all over the place these days. But it's a cultural thing. Yeah, it's not everywhere. So, um,
Ooh,
mm,
yeah. We're gonna do an episode. We need this is like a standalone. This whole topic, and I'm gonna bring my girls. I'm gonna see if I can get some of my South Asian friends to come on, and we're gonna make this a. Because to me, I'm very concerned about this. What are the causes, and what are some solutions or some possible solutions? Thank you for that, baby doll. But we're gonna get back to Okay, so the next thing we see is Sienna and Brandon. Speaking of Sienna and Brandon, this was their episode this week, wasn't it? Sienna and Brandon are cooking for the house, which basically ends up being
mhm,
Brandon is cooking for the house and Sienna is taste testing, right? And that
exactly.
to
Mhm.
me is kind of another issue and problem. Like, so if my co-host Kimberly Reviews were here, she would say, well, no, it's not, because I don't cook either. And my fiance, he is a great cook, and we have determined, we have split the household chores up before we get married, and he is going to be doing the cooking. And that's cool. That's okay, right? That these are two people that have mutually agreed, right? But what I didn't like about this scene is that Sienna, uh, I think of food and cooking as you don't even have to be the best cook. I'm not saying you got to be a gourmet chef, but I think the idea that a woman or a man determines and decides to cook for the other person, right? Or if you're planning on even
Hmm.
one day being married, one day the person that cooks the most, be it the woman or be it the husband, one of them may be ill and you've got to cook for you and the kids and for that person, right? So every adult person should be able to cook. And to me, it's a love language. So like you're showing that you have the humility to serve someone else. And what I don't see in Sienna at all in none of these episodes thus far is her ability to serve anybody else but herself.
Hmm.
What are your thoughts with the cooking and the dinner?
I think if both people know how to cook, then it could be a bonding experience. It's something that you both have in common.
Mm,
So it's
I
something
like
that could
that.
bring some closeness.
Okay.
Um, but you're right. In this instance, it was Brandon doing the cooking and the garnishing and everything, and she helped out by dishing out the plate for or whatever, and he just touched it up with the presentation. I think they showed some teamwork and they showed that they can get on with each other in this moment. Um, but yeah, you're right. Her input was actually very minimal, um, and I feel like he is a. I think he is a dude that is trying to stay on her good side. Um, and I think this was something that maybe he showed that he can excel in that might give him brownie points with her.
Okay.
But whether it did, I don't think so, obviously. But she
Yeah.
seemed to enjoy the food. You know, everybody seemed to enjoy the food.
Yeah. It looked like it was done well. Yes.
Yeah, it's
Uh
basically steak and fries.
steak and yeah, steak and fries, but it did have that what did he call that oil? What was it? A truffle butter or something that he
Yeah,
put on
because
it?
it's a French inspired dish, isn't it? So
Okay. Oui. I'm all for the eats. I'm all for the eats. And as Kimberly Reviews has taught me, I'm all for a man who can cook as well. So I'm excited,
mhm.
but I will cook for him as well because that's fun for me and that's loving for me is to be able to cook. Um,
Yeah,
okay, so
but
then
also, can I just
okay,
say, a lot
yes,
of women don't necessarily want to cook because it's seen as having the
subservient.
expectation. Yeah, they're being subservient. They're being chained to the stove,
Hmm.
and
I
they don't
think
want that connotation. And they get as far away from that as possible.
I think that's very narrow in my personal opinion. I think that's very narrow minded and very short sighted. But
Hmm.
everybody has to do. I'm fully believing this. So we're gonna get to this in a second. But as they were saying at the table, when they were talking about Jody and Aaron, uh, Aaron pointed out that some couples are married, but they live in separate houses. And I think of when he said that, the first thing that I thought of was Married at First Sight expert Dr. Peppers. Dr. Peppers and her real life husband live in two different houses, but they're an
Hmm.
older couple. They've been married, both have been married before and have created their family, i.e., their children, in their first marriage. So now they come to the second marriage, maybe at, I don't know, maybe they got married at 50, 45, 50, 55, 60. I don't know exactly, but I'm going to say they're seasoned, right? So they get married. There's no opportunity for them to have any more children or raise any children. The children are grown. So they decide to live in separate households. I say it's no harm in it because if they like it, I love it. But I'm not going to get married at 20 something, 30 something, or even 40 and at any age. For me now, it is not reasonable for me to get married at any age and say that me and my husband are going to live in separate houses. That's bullcrap. If it didn't work for Halle Berry, it ain't going to work for me. And I'm not nearly as cute as her. But she had a bi-coastal marriage and it did not work.
Hmm. Well, that just tells me that you can't stand to be around each other for too long. So
You
I don't
mean
think that's a good idea.
Dr.
Yeah,
Pepper's in
yeah.
her
If you got separate houses, then you may not have you can't tolerate each other for too long. You know, you need your space. You want to have your own time. You want to have your own bathroom, your own kitchen, your own bedroom, your own living
I
room.
I
You want to
hear
have all your own stuff,
your
but
own,
yet
yeah.
still be together. Yeah. So
I hear though what they
mhm.
do, and I just thought about this. So now here's the thing now where I can kind of see this part of it because I just thought about this. I hear that they actually do stay with each other at their individual residence. So in other words, let's say for 3 months he may come stay at her house or 3 weeks or whatever. They flip flop, they go back to his house. They stay together, but here's what I'm thinking they probably have looked at because folks are looking at money now. They're looking at money, they're looking at estates. They don't want each other's name on their homes. No one wants to sell their home because his home is his favorite home. Her home is her favorite home, right? Because they've raised their kids. They got all these memories in every nook and cranny, right? So what they have done is they've decided to keep the various estates so that when they do what naturally happens in life, they pass away, they can now divvy up their houses. The estate will stay in his family, his house. Her house will stay in her family. So I don't know. That's the only thing I'm thinking. It's just also weird to me. But everybody, my point is, I'm open minded enough to do understand that just like different cultures have different um, bases around race, I mean, around, I'm sorry, around marriage, they have different cultural aspects of marriage. Marriage can mean different things to different people. I guess that's the point I'm trying to really get at.
Hmm. Well, I just feel like
Mhm.
you know, at any point in time, you can just say, "Listen, get out my house. I need my space. I'm feeling too claustrophobic. It's time for you to go. When are you leaving?" You know. Um, so it always keeps that option open whenever things get a bit techie, a bit too heated or hostile. You can just retire back to your own crib, and we don't have
Mm,
to figure it out. There's no
no.
sleeping on the couch. You can go sleep in your own bed. You know.
Mm, yeah, I don't know. So those people that are saying that maybe marriage is outdated, I think if it's got a, I think that's a question to ask oneself. Is it outdated or is it not for you? Because that's fine too. Like if someone decides that, like I can spot people very early in life. Men, and this is my thing. Remember, I told you about at the club when I asked God to give me wisdom and
Hmm.
insight, and I used to see these W's on the men's forehead. I can tell you there are some men like early on in life you can spot them, or at least I can. They're never going to get married. Everybody keeps saying, "Oh, they're going to get married when they're 40. They're going to get married when they get their master's degree. They're going to get married when they buy." No, they're not. Quit lying. They're
Mm.
perpetual bachelors. They're they're
Yeah.
P they're PBs. They're PBs. They're perpetual bachelors. They're never getting married. They're never having children, and they're never
Hmm.
doing what some people call settling down. They're gonna be out here
Hmm.
having all the many women. Come on now, we've all seen those.
Yeah, and we see it. From a male perspective, we see it in the women too.
Yes,
Some women are not wives. They're never gonna be.
absolutely. I absolutely agree with you. Yes. Especially now in this millennial generation, there are a lot of women that are never going to be wives. And
Hmm.
some of them because not because they don't want to be, but some of them because A, they've not prepared themselves to be, and B, because in our community, getting back to this again, not enough men want to be husbands. So
Mm.
they're gonna say, I just only want a black man, but the black men don't want to be married. So get ready to be single.
Hmm.
So in our next banner, we have the most dramatic couple. So they play this game and they vote for the most dramatic couple. Who do you think wins? Does anybody out there in chat you want to venture a guess? If you're watching us on replay, hey, click that like button. You want to venture a guess if you're watching on the replay? Who got voted the most votes for the most dramatic couple? I think this one was a unanimous decision, actually.
I think the winners of this particular question, they won multiple times throughout the game, so they are obviously the champions at the moment in terms of
Oh,
dysfunctionality.
Yes. Okay. So that brings us to our next slide, our next ticker. Which couple would benefit from couples therapy? Who do you think won that one?
The same couple. That's 2 for 2.
Two for two. Miss Iffy's laughing. Miss Iffy, I thought you were supposed to be on your date. Don't let me be telling your business all out here. I thought you were supposed to be on your date. Oh lordy. What's all for kicks? What's all for kicks over on your channel says what now? I can't read that. Can you read that for me?
Mm,
What is all for kicks? What's she saying over on your channel?
mm,
Oh,
I
wait
can't
a
even
minute.
see that.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay, there it is. I think you know how sometimes it's autocorrect. She says it's
Hmm.
also it could have been that the other couples are left. I'm still not understanding. I don't know. I don't know. But to your point, I think you're right. It was the couples left. The couple that was left that's getting the most heat is definitely Sienna and Brendan, right? Couple needs
Hmm.
most
Do,
therapy. Hmm?
hmm. Do you think that's for good
Okay.
reason?
I think so. I think the votes are fair. I think they're fair as well. Okay, different question. Which couple is the most romantic?
Okay. Not the couple that we just mentioned.
No, not at all. Oh yeah, the DV couple, they were most toxic, but now that we have them out the way, we gotta focus in on the couples that are here. All four kicks. And I think the couple that is showing a different form of abuse, which I often like to tell women and warn them that if you get this verbal abuse from someone, just know that 90% of the time the physical abuse is coming after that. Yeah,
Hmm.
so she's verbally abusive. So I wouldn't be surprised if they were behind closed doors and they were together for a while. She would get comfortable maybe laying her hands on him. I wouldn't be surprised.
That's exactly what I was saying. That's where it's going to get to.
Oh, okay, Miss Iffy. Oh, okay. You are good. You are good. You are a multitasker. I wish I had your brain. Your brain is like it's like multitasking there. You're out
Mm.
walking in London and texting. Does your guy think that you're texting to your other boyfriend? What's going on? Tell him I said hey too,
Oh
by the
no,
way.
that's way too messy, Aubrey. Stop that. So
Look,
I
I'm
have a question.
yes.
Um, like so, it was Josh and Shay, right? So, do you think
Yes.
that Josh and Shay are the most romantic because they've gone to the
Hell
boom
to
boom
the
room?
You almost had me cursing there. Hell to the effing no. No, they're not most romantic. No, nothing about them is romantic. I don't like I like them. I like them in some degree in some aspects and in other aspects. Um have we got to that? We haven't got to that yet. I think that's on the ticker. We're gonna get to talking about them and that whole baby thing. No, I don't think that's romantic. I think they're the most sexual. I'll say that.
Hmm.
I'll
Okay.
say they're the most sexual, and I don't have a problem giving them that prize, but most romantic, no. Right now, I think who's in the running for most romantic, I would have to say would be my boy Aaron H. Aaron H and his girl Diamond. I think he really what? You
No,
all that
I didn't say
all that
no. I didn't say no. I
all
didn't
that
say no.
toast. Don't be jealous. Don't be a hater. Don't be a hater. Don't be a hater.
That's
He
not
was
romance.
sucking them toes. He was sucking
That's
them toes,
foreplay. No,
baby.
that's foreplay. Listen, you can't give head to the hoofs. You can't give head to the feet, and then you know
Yeah,
say that
yeah,
that's
yeah.
not sexual. It's not. I mean, it's sensual. It's sensual. It's not
It's
sexual. It's
sensual.
sensual.
Yes, there
Yeah.
you go. There you go. Miss Ivy, you having fun with this. Look at her telling you to tell me off.
My goodness.
Well, who's most romantic? That's just my pick, okay? I have a right to give my pick on my channel. I think those two are more romantic than Josh and Shay. What if Josh Wait a minute. Did anybody catch that Shay had a bush growing under her underarms? Is it just me? Is it just me? And I don't know.
Yeah,
I've heard that that's a European thing, but they're not in Europe. So
she ain't
I,
European.
yeah, and she ain't European, right? So
And
I,
the countries that are known for doing that, like France in particular, are known for doing that.
yeah, yeah.
They often get ridiculed for the hygiene or lack thereof
Ooh.
that comes with that.
Oh, really? Oh my, I didn't know that. Oh, so that's not a compliment, huh?
No, 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 no. Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's right. Your friend is agreeing with me, JR.
Mm.
They're the most sexual, right? That's what I'm saying. They're not most romantic. I don't know if anybody is romantic. I thought for a while, I thought that this guy Chris started off on a good foot with his lady, uh,
Sandia.
Sandia. Yeah, he started off on it with the helicopter ride and the charcuterie board and just trying to really talk to her. But the more I watch him, like little things this week in the episode, like do you recall when they were in the kitchen and he was talking about, oh, I can't even get any healthy meals here. I don't have anything to work out, and she was trying to tell him about because you're a personal trainer. She was telling him some exercise, and he was like, "Oh no, I hate those. It's not burpees, but it was something else." I was like,
Uh,
he doesn't like her. I don't think he likes her.
no, he doesn't.
And I don't like that. I don't like, and how you know it, like I think he tried to pretend like he kind of does, but how I knew it in that moment when she leaned in the kitchen and she put her hands on his shoulder and she was so close to him. I have never seen a man that liked a woman that wouldn't in that moment wouldn't have slid his hand around her waist, wouldn't have gave her a kiss on her lips or her forehead. He gave her nothing. He doesn't like her. He does not like her.
No, he doesn't. I agree.
Yeah, so I
His head's been turned by
Jody.
um yeah, Joanna. Yeah. Listen, both of them, and I know they must be coming up soon, but I'm gonna just
No, go
jump the
ahead,
gun a
talk
little
about
bit.
it, then
Okay.
I'll skip the ticker. Go ahead,
Yeah.
talk.
Listen, both of them are creating havoc in there right now, right? Because they're not attracted to their respective partners, and
Right.
they seem to be more attracted to each other, but still keeping their partners hanging on, having some
Mhm.
sense of false hope, because they
Yeah.
know that it would be very egregious, very frowned upon, very scandalous if they were to do anything about their attraction whilst they've still got their partners there and the purpose of the show, the premise of the show. So, but I think it's evident the way that Chris is able to speak about things in front of Cynthia
Mhm.
and
No.
not
Mhm.
care at all that she's very much in the room, very present, watching
Yes.
and listening, and he still don't care whether it's hurting her feelings or not. So it's very insensitive. And then I think Joanna, Jodie, I think she's very complimentary of Chris, but she's very disparaging of Aaron. So it's like she scolds him for being a child and this, that, the other, but then she looks to Chris and she starts fluttering her eyelids and yeah, we connect. And when he's giving her the whole, yeah, look, we just get each other, we just have chemistry, she is all into that. But for her
Yeah.
man, she ain't got none,
Yeah.
no energy.
And I don't get it. I don't get it because here's the thing I know. Here's the thing I know at 50 plus, he ain't gonna like her when she's available. It's that guy who likes, like my girlfriend taught me this a long time ago. It's that guy that likes the side chick. He likes that tip. And as soon as it's no longer a sneak tip and he has the freedom to pick you as his main girl, he don't want you no more.
Mhm.
He is that player. He is that player. He don't care about none of these ladies. So
Nah, I
that's
think
what
I,
I
I
that's what
think
I think.
he, yeah, I just think he said it in the first episode. He might like Cynthia to a degree, and he's giving her a chance, but at the end of the day, he still considers himself very much a ladies' man that can go out and do whatever he wants to do if it doesn't work out. So
Yeah.
I think he's trying to phrase it as she should be fortunate that she's being given the opportunity. And if
Really?
she does, yeah, and if she doesn't, if she has a problem with how he is, then fine. He's just gonna go look for other girls.
Mm, yikes. They're a mess. But let's move on to the next thing on the list. So last question about the well, no, we got this one and one more about the couples. Which couple is most in need of the boom boom room? Do you think?
Sheesh, most in need of the boom boom room.
Yeah, most
Ah,
in need. Yeah, most in need of.
sheesh. Mm.
You do you think? Okay, so let me phrase it to you. Let me ask you this question this way. So
Ah, I know.
in
I got it.
but
I
let,
know.
but let me
Hmm.
ask you this question. Okay, so in this week's
Yeah.
episode, we
Hmm.
see Greg talking to Brandon, and he's
Hmm.
telling him, "Man, if you was to take her in that boom boom room with them fresh sheets and that Lysol and the luminol and everything like that, if you was
Hmm.
to take her in there and just do your magic, man, I'm telling you, I promise you, you have 72 hours of like calm, adoring, loving Sienna. She would just be a whole new woman. Do you buy that? Does anybody buy that? Tell me in the chat if you buy that. Does the peen and eggs change the woman to a more docile woman from an explosive woman? Is that really true what they say? Is it true?
Nah, I doubt it. I think it leads to more emotionally charged arguments when they take place because now you've connected on that level. Um, uh, Back to your question, who's in need of the boom boom room? I thought that it would have been Greg and Millie, but after seeing how she reacted to them kissing, I don't think that's ever going to go down like that. Uh,
Wait, back up. After you
mm,
saw who reacting to who kissing? What? I'm lost.
Greg and Millie when they kissed in the pool,
Oh, yeah,
she,
yeah, yeah.
she
Okay.
didn't like that. So I don't think they're going boom boom room anytime soon. I don't think they're ready for it. I
Mm,
think the couple most in need will probably be foot fetish guy, foot cheese. Um, what's his name? Aaron and Diamond. But she's not going to let him go all the way to fourth base. I think she quite openly said she's
yeah.
abstaining from all of that. So it'll be a pointless trip. He'll probably be happy just to go to the boom boom room, just to chew on those feet and suck those toes all night and watch her eyes roll up in the back of her head.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with a little toe sucking.
There's
Ooh, ooh,
plenty
ooh,
wrong.
ooh.
I hope he kisses her afterwards, straight
No!
afterwards. Tongue kiss too. I hope they do all
Okay,
that.
okay. Them toes gotta be clean.
well, well.
Oh my God. I'm not gonna even say what I'm thinking.
Listen, I
Uh,
just, I just
mhm.
think of, I just think of Boomerang. Like when I think of that, because man, she,
Oh, the
them Earth,
movie Boomerang.
yeah,
Yeah,
them
yeah.
Eartha Kitt toes, and oh man,
You mean to tell me you let me hush. Let me hush. I don't want to make this personal. All right,
yeah,
moving
it's not
along, moving
happening.
along.
It's not happening ever. Yeah.
Last question on the couples on the voting on the game.
Mm.
Well, we already know this. We already know who's most toxic and argues the most. We already know that. We've already said that couple.
The
We already,
champions,
yeah,
the
the champ.
champions,
They
free,
won.
free to free.
Yeah, three
You
for
know,
three. They won this hands down. They won this
uh
hands
huh.
down. Okay, so then we've got the host. Toronto arrives,
Mm-hmm.
and she's telling them that this week we're going to see Sienna and Brendan's friends are coming. Their best friends are coming to help them to make a better decision on whether they're compatible or not. So then we see Brendan's friend Matt with the comb over. Got the comb over, right? He arrives. I think he's a cool dude, and he talks to Brendan, and Brendan tells him, he says, "Hey, man, we've been having some fighting, some arguments. We seem to have chemistry. However, she called me the B word twice." And his friend is like, "What? What did you do?" Brendan, he just kind of sweeps that under the rug. He moves on. He says, "Well, she's got this temperament." And he says, "Well, man, I know you since third grade. You're very calm. You're very laid back. What are you gonna do?" And so, go ahead. What were your thoughts with that whole interaction?
I think Brandon was trying to put a better light, a positive spin on how the interactions really gone. He did say she called him the B word,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think he threw her under the bus, which is the opposite of what she did. But I think his friend is genuinely concerned. I think his friend is like, listen, man, you're a mild mannered dude. I've known you since a kid, so I know you're not a problematic guy or whatever. But yeah, I think his friend is very concerned that at this stage, um, this is the feedback that he's getting. Maybe the friend had higher hopes over the time that they've been talking, that when they finally met, then there'll be more of a positive um, interaction.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. He's trying to keep it positive and lighthearted. Like I'm telling you, whether you agree with me or not, I'm thinking that the friend also knows that this is not the first time this has happened to this man because of his mild manneredness and his passivity. He's got a it's just too passive. It's too passive. Um,
Well, no, I agree with that because at the end of the day, he has had a failed marriage, which probably didn't, at times must have gotten rocky, or it ultimately ended. So there may have been some residual bad blood at some stage while they're going through the divorce process, and also his other child's mother may have had a rocky relationship of some kind at certain points. We don't know. But the friend has been there to see it all. So the friend would have a better insight as to how his temperament is and what he's gone through. So,
yeah, yeah. To Ellen V's point, yeah, they've been friends since third grade, so he knows. He knows this man inside out. He knows him
right.
very well. Yeah, yeah. That's an issue. But anyhow, we persevere. We move forward. So what about this scene? We talk about in this next scene, you got Josh and Shay are sharing again with the elders, with Aaron and Diamond outside. They're having this conversation, and Diamond brings up to Shay. She says, "Yeah, you said he had a baby on you." Uh, well, yeah, he says, and then when they ask him about it, I think he does this thing. Who's that guy? It's a character that talks, and when he's talking, you can't understand a damn word that he's saying. He's like all Southern accent, uh, roommates, baby. Then the baby happened. Like what? How we get from roommates to baby? Like, dude, come on now. What'd you make of that?
Yeah, I think that was oof. From what I could make out, it seems like they had a amicable situation where they both agreed that they were just going to be roommates, and I don't think anything was, there was no relationship, there was nothing that was scheduled to happen between them. But yeah, either through the course of spending so much time together under one roof, or having a drink night, or whatever the case may be, they crossed that bridge. They crossed that line. They blurred that line. So you know, who knows? I don't even think it was just once. If you cross
Oh
that line
boy.
and you're still living together, then that could have been a
Yeah.
regular thing. But
Yeah. Come on, baby. You know it's Friday night, baby. Woo, woo, woo. Let's
exactly,
go to that boom. Let's go to
you
the
know what
boom,
we did
boom,
last
boom,
week.
boom, boom,
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we went to the boom boom room the other day. Let's go again.
boom.
So
Right.
um,
Right.
that could have been something that was more regular. But he told Shay about it from the get go, and there's something about the way she took it, you know, I don't necessarily think she was exclusive either. I don't think they were.
Ah,
I don't think they were both exclusive. They hadn't seen each other. They weren't boyfriend and girlfriend at the time in that respect.
okay,
Um,
okay, yeah.
so that's why I think she's cool with it. Ordinarily, you know, I don't think she would appreciate, or any lady would appreciate, someone
Nah,
having a baby on them. But I think
no.
the reason why she's calm about it is because they probably were not exclusive at the time. Even though they were talking, they weren't exclusive to the laptop.
Mm. I wonder if it was a prison baby. I know I shouldn't be saying this. I'm sorry. I still think the way I saw him eating, I still think that man has been incarcerated. He
Okay.
gave the signs from the tutorial that I watched. He gave
Mm.
classic signs of prison behavior, the way he was guarding his food with the left arm, and he had his head down low and was stuffing that food in real quick, like because I hear, I guess the prison inmates will either take your food, your tray right from up under you, or they will knock it to the ground. So he was doing all the classic signs. I'm wondering if
Well,
an incarceration baby.
listen, I don't know if he was in a mixed jail or anything like that. I don't even know if they still have those. I don't know.
No,
But
no, not mixed jails, not mixed.
well,
No,
if
no.
he's a prison baby, if he goes away, how's he gonna get a girl pregnant unless she's in
Oh,
there just
they have prisoners sometimes have what's it called uh,
visitations,
yeah, the ones where they can have.
affairs with their handlers, the person
They
guarding.
can, they can, and or here in this country again, because we know it's an industry. You have many situations here in America where prisoners have impregnated guards. They
Yeah,
do
that's
have.
what I was saying. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I've
I'm
heard
sorry.
about it.
I didn't
I've
understand
heard
you. Okay.
I've heard about that. But no, listen. I'm
We're a
gonna
crazy
say
country over here. We're crazy.
insane.
We're your baby. We're your baby. So don't be calling us insane. We got it from you.
No, 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 no. The
We
student is
got it from you.
the student is teaching the teacher new things.
This apple did not fall too far from that UK tree.
Listen, it fell way over the Atlantic, long, 4,000
Yeah,
miles away. That's where
listen.
the apple fell.
Thank you. Somebody is helping me out. I could not think fast enough. Thank you, Denise. Denise says yes. Conjugal visits. That's what I was trying to think of.
Conjugal visits, yeah, yeah, they do get those. But no, I mean, I'm not going to go that far. I think they may be roommates. But I think, listen, I think another reason why he's protecting his food is because he's probably dated some girls that want to, they come with that. Oh, can I try some of yours? Oh, yours looks better than mine, type stuff.
Mm.
And he's like, oh no, you ain't getting none
Oh
of my food.
no. No,
You,
that ain't why
you're not
men
playing
come
up in my
in
food, young
now.
lady. I
No,
asked you if you were hungry, and you
no.
said no. So you ain't getting none of my salad. I'm sorry, no, you're not getting none of my chicken. I asked you what you wanted to eat, and you said you weren't hungry. So you stay over there. You're not getting my food.
Now that's
So
one
he's
of my
shielding
numbers. That's one of my numbers because I am insane about that. If I ask you what you want to eat or we're at a restaurant and you order your stuff, I order. Do not, please do not. You're not getting anything off my plate. No. No. Nope.
Yeah,
Nope. Thank
I
you.
mean
See,
that's a that's a big
yes.
pet peeve of mine. I don't mind if I've got something and I'm like, here, try it, have some.
Yeah, that's
But I
different,
don't
right?
want you staring at my food, envying my food and the way I'm eating it. And when I've asked you specifically what you want, and you've told me what you
Right.
want, I've given you what you want, and now you
Yeah.
want what I have. Now I don't want you're not going to do that to me. No, no.
Right. Right. Look at
And
what bad.
don't just reach over and pick out
Oh
my food
no,
either.
never that.
Don't
Never.
play my food.
That's so yeah.
No.
Don't play in my mom always taught me that. Don't play in nobody's food. Don't let them play in your food. Bab
Mm.
says Shay seems to be a people pleaser. Low self-esteem. Yes, I see that, Babs. I see it that way too. She seems to be willing to accept love no matter how it comes to her, even at the expense of her man having a side baby. But now, to be fair, Babs, I see all of what you're saying at the beginning of low self-esteem. I see her as being a people pleaser. She's very much a yes gal. But to JR's point though, if the two of them had never met before just a couple of days ago or a couple of weeks ago for us, um, that baby doesn't really come in as a side baby. That baby comes in as, they weren't together. They were simply talking. That's why I say I think people are using talking and dating and exclusivity, because you can date and still not even be exclusive with the same person, right? So he's in another state, she's in one state. you know I don't know. I don't know if it's a side baby, but what I don't like is how he doesn't seem to take accountability in this week's episode. That's what I don't like. What do you say, JR? Again, what are your thoughts? Is that a side baby, or is that just a baby?
Technically, it is because they were in some type of relationship slash situation. But like I said, if it's been determined by both of them that they weren't exclusive at the time,
Mm-hmm.
then it's not a side baby. It's just a baby that happened with someone else. But this is the thing. This
Just
is
a baby
why
that you
this
didn't
is
have.
why yeah,
Okay, go ahead.
exactly. This is why you set the parameters. You say,
Yes.
listen, we're exclusive, we're dating, no one
Mm-hmm.
else. Right? Then
Right.
if he does have a baby with someone else, then he stepped out. If you're both
That's
saying, you know
right.
what, I'm in Memphis, I'm gonna be doing my thing over here, but I'm still checking for you, baby. One day we're gonna meet up. And she's wherever she's from. She's like, yeah, one day we're gonna get together, but in the meantime, I'm gonna be out here living my life too. Then that's not a side baby. And he told her about it so she doesn't find out about it later. So that's why I think she's cool with it. I think she'd rather hear about it from the horse's mouth as soon as it happened, rather than get deep, meet up, spend some time together, grow into a relationship, and then all that stuff. And let's be real, they've hit the boom boom room already, so the chemistry and all the rest of it, they're not thinking about his child and all of that stuff.
Mm-mm. Ain't thinking about it right
Not at
now, but
all.
if
No, they're thinking about the boom boom room. They're not
they
thinking
think
about
about
the
the
kid.
boom boom room, but if she's thinking long term, she better be thinking about them child support payments that's gonna be dipping in the household money. That's what she
Of
better be
course,
thinking about.
especially if like he said he wants to have children with her at some point as well. That's going to
Hmm.
also affect because now this is the downside. Now he's got a kid with a former roommate. If they develop their relationship and they have a child, now they're going to be related to this roommate's child as well, right? So how is she going to be able to trust him with this roommate when they were supposed to have had an amicable situation, but they crossed that line?
Mm. Babs has another good point. She says Shay's definitely a yes girl, and what woman would be with someone for 12 years and then her man then has a baby? This is all pointing to low self esteem. Mm. Well, so as we press forward, we get Sienna, her girlfriend, her best friend Gigi visits, and this scene drove me like uh almost insane, because in this scene Sienna is like just she's telling lies by omitting facts. She says, well, we
Mm-hmm.
had it out, we had a disagreement, and then he goes to another woman to talk to her about me. What she didn't say, she omitted the fact that he tried to talk to you about you calling him out of his name. He tried to
Mm-hmm.
talk to you about you lying and saying, or changing your mind at least, and saying that you were going to consider moving to where he was down in Florida from New York City. Then when you
Mm-hmm.
meet in person, now you all of a sudden, oh no, I could never leave NYC. I want to be in New York City for the rest of my life. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you saying all of these things, but you admitting these facts to your friend, but you just tell her, no, he's talking to this other woman about me. And then you also, the third fact you left out the fact that you were talking to that woman's man about him and what happened. So you both are talking to other people about the situation. So, hey, it's all fair.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Absolutely
Exactly.
nuts.
So this is the thing. This is really why I saw Sienna as just beyond reproach at this point. He needs to get out because what she did was she deliberately omitted the stuff she did in order to paint a picture of him so that he's now the villain. right?
Right.
So, and her friend, she has known her for a long time too, right? So she must know what Sienna is capable of doing in certain situations in relationships. She's probably seen it before to some degree,
Oh
but
yeah.
she seemed to be all into what Sienna was saying, the half truths, and unfortunately, this is why this is what can happen when you open up to your friend or whatever about your relationship. If you're not self-aware and you don't have any desire for that person to be liked or seen in good favor, then you're gonna put them in a position where now your friend's gonna meet the guy and she's gonna have a very dim and colored view of the dude. She said the friend's exact words were, "I already don't like him," based on what she's heard. So
Right. Yeah.
that's already set the tone for when she does see him, she's automatically gonna be like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, side eyeing him, right? Um,
Yeah.
you're not good enough for my friend. When in actual fact, he's actually tried to articulate. He's tried to um, be a pacifier when things get heated. He hasn't matched her
Hmm.
energy or tried to escalate. He tried to de-escalate. Um,
Yes. Absolutely.
and like I said, the other group members, they have no dog in the fight, but they've all, apart from Shay, who's gullible as hell, and that's probably to do with her low self-esteem as well. The fact that she's trying to buddy up with Psycho Sienna, but yeah.
Psycho.
So I feel like that what she did was she had already cast a shadow over Brandon with the friend, and I didn't like that at all. She created a narrative that was not true, and Sienna really doesn't like this Brendan guy, like not at all. Not at
No.
all. There's nothing that she says or does, the way she treats him, anything that makes me think she likes him romantically or relationship wise. Other than them cooking that meal together, there is nothing I've seen, nothing for over the past 3 episodes that made me feel like she's into him relationship wise. Nothing. She weaponized everything that she knew about him. She's called him the B word. She's now gone thrown him under the bus with her friends. Her friend. She even tried to turn the rest of the group against him. She's thrown the flowers. She's done all these crazy. She's not feeling him, and that's why, like I said, he needs that backbone. He needs to get out of there.
Oh, you know what? Our chat family has a very good point. Say it one more time. Her name. Say it for me, please. JR.
Ariadne.
Ariane. Ariane.
Ariadne. Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying. Give me some credit. I'm trying. She says that exactly, JR. I don't know why she's giving you all the kudos, but okay.
Of
Which is
course.
why she
Why not?
she she's right. She's right. She says, which is why I don't like that these family and friends aren't interacting with the other party. And I see her point. So, in other words, if they were going to sit down, they could have sat down as a couple, because by Sienna telling her story with him not there, she can narrate it any way she sees fit, which is what I said. She's
Mm-hmm.
narrated at least three facts of point out of the whole conversation. She narrated
Mm-hmm.
the fact that, she called him the B word. She narrated everything out of it and omitted it, which basically made the whole story a lie.
Exactly, and that's what I'm saying. She removed all context to what she said that he has done,
Yes.
because by not saying what she did, now it just seems like it's all one sided, and he's done all these things out of nowhere, and it's been unnecessary. But she is too ashamed of her own behavior to own it with her friend, because she probably knows if she told exactly what took place, what she's done, her friend would be like, "Oh, you did that? Oh no, girl, you can't be doing that." And she doesn't want that shame or that embarrassment for her homegirl to be telling her, "Look, man, you can't be moving like that." And this is why I think Sienna's single. I actually think she I think she
Hmm.
may have I don't think this is the first time she's displayed this type of hostile, volatile behavior. I think this is her. I think this is unapologetically her.
I think so too. I think so too. I think that what she's showing, and I'm surprised being in New York City, but maybe she's calmer with those roughneck guys in New York City. But
Nope.
I think the other thing that I'm noticing though too is I don't know about other people because I think a lot of times we gauge things and project things from our own reality. I'm not the kind of friend that you can be my girlfriend and we're at the stage where we're dating or you're dating and you're telling me about how your dates are going. And if things don't sound like they make sense, I'm going to be asking a lot of questions. And either you're going to fill me in on it or you're going to hesitate or you're going to deflect. And if you're deflecting, I'm going to catch that. If you're not filling me in, I'm going to catch that. If you didn't tell me what you did because you're saying all this stuff, well, he did, he said, he went off with that girl, and he was.
Exactly.
I'm going to catch all of that, and I'm going to have a problem, and I'm going to bring it up to your attention. Now, if you don't want to listen, or you have a problem with a truthful friend, chances are we probably won't be friends for long because I don't like people giving me stories that are just that. They're stories that they're making up and they're leaving out major chunks of information. I don't like that.
Mm.
I didn't like that when my kids were young and they're telling me, well, the teacher did this and they said that, and then they made me go stand in the corner. Well, why did they make you go stand in the corner? Oh, because you were talking out of turn and you were supposed to be studying, but you weren't. Oh, that's why they. Oh, okay. So you got to ask questions to people. You can't just accept the story at face value. No.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I think what Sienna did was put the information out there in a way where the friend kind of she just went along with what was being said, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, we
I
see that.
yeah. So I really think Sienna is a dangerous person, man. Uh, I know we're gonna go further into it, but I just think Brandon needs to get up out of there. I think he needs to leave her alone. She will disparage and disrespect him and cuss him out and lose her rag. And now she's gonna go to the group. We already saw this. The same thing she did with her friend this week is what she did last week. She went and
Yes.
tried to taint his image to other people. Right?
She's
She
giving
tried to,
Mean Girl. She's giving Mean Girl.
Yeah,
Like I said it
she's
before.
horrible.
She's
She's
giving two
terrible.
things. Yeah, she's giving two things. She's giving that girl with the pretty privilege, and she's giving Mean Girl, and I don't like it. She's starting to remind me of the black version of this season, Married at First Sight, Emily. She's starting to give me that version of her. Like I don't.
Yeah, I'm a nice
Yeah.
person. I'm a good person, but oh. And the other thing is, just unfortunately, he encounters a guy who has a similar or same mindset and temperament that she does. It is gonna be, you know, it's gonna be bad, really bad. Um, definitely, we see. I think Greg used about batteries. He said something about these two batteries
Mhm.
don't have the same polarity, so there's no connection.
Oh yeah, they're
I
both
think
dead. They're both
people
dead
like,
batteries.
yeah,
Yeah.
right, yeah. I feel like Sienna, she attracts someone with the opposite polarity to her. So as hostile and volatile as she attracts those kind of docile, more mild tempered guys based on the looks. She like a black widow spider, like will wrap you up in a web, and then once she gets
She's
there, then she's gonna
fine,
kill you
fine.
with the disrespect and the hostility.
She gonna kill
She
you with
bad.
that, yeah. And behind the scenes, she probably might take some other jabs at you too. She is fine, fine. That
Yeah.
lady is gorgeous. I was looking at her walk, everything. She's gorgeous. However, she is not kind. And I think, like, when they talk about opposites attracting, I think that opposites attract A, when you're either unhealed, or B, or both, A and B. You're unhealed, or when you're immature. Because going back to what you were saying, your theory or your belief that men are wired to look at what is attractive to them, I think that's fine. I have no problem with that. That's like people saying, you love who you love. I think that the mature person, though, you can love who you love or like who you like. However, if let's say you met someone and you found out upon first meeting them, this person is, let's say, unemployed, they don't like to work, and also, oh, by the way, they happen to be married to another person. You find out, let's say, three or four facts about them that would make them ineligible for you to date, but you decide to date them anyway, that is because you are A, unhealed, and you are B, immature. Okay? It's
Hmm.
one of those
Hmm.
things or both. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. Because why else would you be dating someone? So like for him, that's what I was saying, getting back to Brandon, all of the fault doesn't fall. I mean, the fault for her being abusive, it definitely falls in her on her part, right? But the part where he has a part too is he is very unhealed, because only an unhealed person would allow someone to talk to them like that repeatedly. Like the saying goes, I've been in an abusive relationship in the past, and I always thought about this, something that I heard early on before I experienced abuse, and that was the great actress Diane Carroll. And she said, the first time is shame. Fool me once is shame on you. Fool me twice is shame on me. So, in other words, you can do something to me that I'm totally unexpecting, right? I don't expect you to abuse me. I don't expect you to call me out my name. I don't expect you to call me the B word. I don't expect you to raise your hand to me. But the second time, see, there's not going to be a second time. And that's why I'm so strong. I'm so passionate about cutting people off at the first juncture when they're screwing up in a major way. I'm not talking about a little thing. I'm not talking about a disagreement. We disagree on where to have dinner. I'm not talking about that. But I'm talking about when you violate the very boundaries of my safety, that is a real and present danger. And women and men need to be very concerned about people who violate their personal safety.
Mm. I agree. But unfortunately, there are some people that give people more grace or time to show them something different, or say, you know what, this was a minor, or this was a mishap, or this was a slip up. Let me
Hmm.
not ruin the whole thing based on this small transgression, maybe. So
Hmm.
there are different people who have different
Absolutely.
red lines,
Absolutely.
different strokes, different boundaries. But like I said, I'm not going to put Brandon in the case where I'm going to say, yeah, this is your fault because you allowed this woman to talk to you like that. No, she chose to talk to him like that, and he made the choice to either stay or go, and he has to go. Like in my opinion, he needs to say, you know what, enough's enough, and he seems to be saying that, especially when she threw the flowers at him in front of
Oh
everybody.
my gosh, what was that all about? Like she was in the
Well,
room, and the other people like Shay and Josh were sitting on one part, one sofa. They were all, some of them in the living room, and they were just talking. I don't know if she just heard them talking about their situation and she got angry, but she threw the roses at his feet. But what if that had been in a vase and the glass had just shattered all in his face? What, like what? What is wrong with her?
exactly, and this is what I'm saying to you. So it, like, yeah, it could have been in a vase, it could have been some hot oil, it could have been a hot kettle, a hot pan, it could have been anything that was available at the time. Could have been a knife, could have been anything. In private, we don't know. But if this is what she's doing in front of the group and in front of the camera crew and everybody, right?
Right.
Then she has no self control, and
None.
it's not for him to calm her down. And anything he says to calm her down is going to raise her anger levels even more.
Oh, I
Anything he
agree.
tries to do to diffuse a situation is going to continue to let her escalate even more. She doesn't like him, she doesn't respect him, and
No,
she doesn't have no self
doesn't at
control or
all.
self awareness. So it's a dangerous combination. So the thing is, like I said, he needs to get out of there because she isn't even able to acknowledge the things she's doing when she's talking to her homegirl. She's still not even talking about what she did in this situation because she's ashamed. She knows that she's gonna get chastised for the way she behaves towards him,
Speak.
so she doesn't mention it.
Speaking of because I had this up earlier and it wasn't, and we kind of moved around. I want to come back to this comment. Bab makes that Sienna has absolutely no self-awareness. I'm wondering if looking back at this show and seeing her behavior, has she began reassessing her behaviors, but probably not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give no grace on that. 'Cause I haven't seen any evidence of that. So I'm only going by what I see on the show. She's got absolutely no um, shame. She got no remorse. She's got no nothing. She thinks that she can just blow up, get hostile, and do what she does without reproach. Yeah, like she's already had the other group members give their opinions of what's happening. And what did she do? She said, I don't need to hear your opinion on my relationship, this, that, the other. That's what she started the episode with, right? When she was being counseled or being told feedback by Aaron and Diamond, she didn't want to hear it.
Right? No.
So it's not even just that. It's not even just the fact that it's it's other couples. Brandon ain't gonna tell her. Her
Mm-hmm.
friend, she didn't even want her friend to tell her anything. That's why she omitted certain bits of information. No one can tell her anything. She needs to see it for herself, and I don't think she has the ability to do that. I think what she does have the ability to go out there and continue to do the same thing to the other guys that may enter her life because she has no ability to calm herself down, and she's too dangerous. Like just like we were talking about Dominique and Alexis situation, this situation needs to be addressed. I don't expect to see her on the show next week. Like if she's still on the show next week, then I'm gonna be very pissed. I will be pissed. And I'm not gonna sugarcoat either. When we come back to do the review next week, if
Uh-oh.
Sienna has not been
Uh-oh.
sent home, yeah, if she has not been told to go home, if the host has not come in and said, Sienna, you process. I don't care how it happens, in fact. If she's on the show next week,
Mm-mm. You gonna
because
let her
I'm putting
have
that
it
down.
full force. I'm over on the group
Yeah.
on Facebook. I'm gonna invite some of them to come jump in next week with us because we got Aaron over there, and I just uh started being followed. I followed him first, and then both Aaron. So Aaron, okay, Aaron, what is it, Aaron J, who is with Jody. He started following
Diamond.
me over on
Oh,
Instagram.
no.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, because I found out. So, like, oh, this was what I thought was interesting. Little Instagram twist. So I'm over on the own page, and I think you had sent me something, JR. So I was over there looking at the little video clip that they were showing with Jody and
Mhm.
Aaron, and so
Yeah.
I was reading the comment section because I had no time, nothing to do with my time. So I'm reading the comment section, and in
Mhm.
jumps Jody, and so people were asking about, well, why are you calling her Jody? Because her name is Joanna, and she's like, well, I go by both, or blah blah blah, and she's got it on her Instagram handle. Well, anyway, so she gets upset about when people are talking about that the scene where they're doing the Kama Sutra poses, the sensual poses. And she says, well, this was absolutely my favorite part of this whole situation. And now people are ruining it for me. And she was whining about it. And that's how I got to her friend Erin. But I thought, wow, that's so crazy. Like you come on a reality TV show and you don't expect that people are going to observe what is very obvious, that you two have no chemistry.
That's why it was her favorite.
JR,
No icon. There's no
JR.
sensual touch. Yep.
Oh, okay. You've unfrozen
Hello.
now. Go ahead. You go ahead. You had frozen, but you're fine now. Go ahead.
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep. Go ahead.
Uh-oh. Yeah. I was saying Yeah, so there was no chemistry, there was no sensual anything, there was no eye contact. And let's put it this way.
Wow, we got JR and he seems to be frozen in time. JR, come back to us. Come back to us. But yeah, there is no telling, Bab, to your comment on the screen. Yes, there is no telling what Sienna would do behind closed doors. She is definitely a red flag. I can't believe she talks to her man like that. Or even maybe at this point they're still just the dating stage. They're not actually a couple. I don't know what they're calling themselves at this point, but I think she is treating him very poorly. She's showing a lack of respect for him. Okay, here's JR. Let's get him back up on the stage. Hey, there you
Sorry about
go. Yeah, no
stupid,
problem. I was continue
stupid.
talking. I think
Yeah.
it could be here too because we've got a storm coming in. So I think it could be the satellite or whatever this thing is. We got a storm overhead. So yeah.
Okay. So yeah, yeah. I just feel like the reason why she says she enjoyed that part of the she didn't have any intimate connection with the guy. So there wasn't any situation where she felt pressured or they were hugging or embracing. It
Mm-mm.
was pretty much a chilled. She just got to lay down on her stomach and then philosophize about the situation. You know,
Right, right.
because
As Aaron
yeah,
H said, right.
exactly. He was very observant, like, and I think everybody saw that. She enjoyed just sitting there because she's a so-called sexologist. I'm not sure if she's qualified with a PhD or how she got that qualification,
I'm
but
gonna tell you something. Wait a minute, hold up,
mm,
Jr. She is qualified as a sexologist, probably the very same way Shiloh from Ready to Love was qualified to be. What was it? She wasn't a sexologist, but she was a something about the sensoryologist. So I think there's somewhere there's a paper mill that is printing out certificates so that anybody can say they're a sexologist. Oh, I know what it was. Shiloh was an intimacy coach from her season on Ready to Love. Do you remember that? She was an intimacy
yeah,
coach over on Instagram. I think there's a meal that is just printing up certificates. Maybe I could write to them and they could give me an MD license, like, medical license for Aubrey Vaughn, medical
hmm
doctor. I think I
hmm
want to be a doctor now. Yes.
yeah. Well, listen, you can identify as anything these days, right? So,
Hmm.
um, so I feel like the person who is meant to be well versed in and knowledgeable about the intimacy aspect, um, man, she enjoyed talking about it, giving everyone a debrief about it, but she didn't actually participate in the task, in my opinion. And that's because she's not attracted to the guy. Like I said, if it was Chris, I feel like she would have put more effort into it, and that's the man she really wants. But her
Mm.
guy, she not feeling him at all. So
I wonder what's going on in that house. I wonder if anybody ever sneaks to that boom boom room while everybody else is asleep. And maybe Chris and we're gonna talk about that. There's some more stuff coming up with them this next week, looks like. But moving forward on to the next one, we're gonna go with what did you think about Millie and Greg in the hot tub? They were kissing, kissing, kissing in that hot tub, but it looked like one of them was a little less into the kissing than the other one.
yeah, it looks like Greg is more attracted to Miss Millie than she is to him. And although she participated in the kissing, she made it seem like, from her feedback, that she wasn't really into it. She didn't want it. Um, and I'm not sure how she's going to communicate that to Greg now that they've done it. I mean, I would have expected that if she wasn't feeling the kiss, turn the cheek or say, yep, okay, you know what? I don't think we should have done that. I didn't enjoy that, whatever, whatever. But she went along with it and kind of played into what he was trying to do at the time. And this is the thing. I think like in some instances, a guy will get blamed for not picking up the signals and not shooting his shot.
Okay.
And I think he took the gamble and shot his shot, and it just didn't land. I
Okay.
don't think there is as strong as a connection as I thought they would have been.
Yeah. And let's just kind of fast forward and kind of include this in the conversation. So we see at the end of this episode in a different scene that, or for next week, actually, I'm sorry, that she is talking about Millie is talking about having had past traumas. So how might that, maybe that might line up with why she's not as open to Greg? Because to your point, I agree with you. When I saw, my first thought as a woman, when I saw her sitting on his lap in that hot tub, I'm like, okay, so the only way you are sitting on his lap is you like him, you're attracted to him, and you want things to go a little bit farther. Not saying all the way to fourth base or home run, but you want things to go a little bit further, and you are giving him basically permission by your sitting on his lap that you want him to move the ball forward, right? So then a little bit later on, when they turn and they face each other, they're hugged up, and he's saying to her, this I could stay in this position forever. Then he kisses her, but
Uh-huh.
it's interesting to me that later on she tells the girl, she says, well, it wasn't organic, it wasn't romantic enough. He didn't say XYZ, he didn't cross his t's and dot his i's. And I thought, nah, that's BS. That's BS. So there
Uh-huh.
is maybe either trauma, or either you don't like him as much as we thought you did. So I'm not sure which it is, but I also need her to communicate as a grown woman. I need her to communicate to him if there's something that she really needs. There's nothing wrong with a woman having needs, or a man having specific needs. I need you to communicate that to your partner, though.
Uh-huh. Exactly. Maybe he needs to hit the toes first, like Aaron. You know.
Why you gotta go there? Why you gotta keep that in?
But I think I think she probably is looking for a more romantic, like he has to give some elaborate speech or do some elaborate gesture before he leans in for the kiss. I think that may be it. But no, like he literally, I think the being in the pool together, you're semi naked, you're in a jacuzzi by yourselves, you're embraced, like you're close up, eye contact, hugging. Like I said, I think he just shot his shot based on the location and the feeling that he's getting from her at the time. He took the gamble, and it actually turned her off. And that's unfortunately the way it goes. You can kiss someone,
Mm-hmm.
and you've made the move, you kiss them, but now
Right.
the kiss has taken place. Is there fireworks? Is there butterflies? Or did it feel like a wet fish being sat across the face? Did you get
Ew.
turned off?
Ooh, not
Did
the
the
wet
breath
fish.
did the breath stink? Was the kissing
Ooh.
technique terrible? And
Ooh.
did, yeah.
I already told you guys my theory about a man who can't kiss you well. Leave it there. Leave it there. Walk away. Because if he can't kiss well, he can't do nothing else well in terms of intimacy.
Yeah,
Walk away. Walk away.
it looked like he went for the slobber. He went for the slobber. He went for the tongue kiss, and maybe she just wanted the
Ooh,
little pecks,
yeah.
the
Well,
little passionate pecks.
was it the passionate pecs? Because what I observed in that scene. I observed big juicy lips, his, which ain't nothing wrong with that. I like the juicy moist lips because they were not cracked, they were not dry. But I saw them
Mm.
go in on her bottom lip, and it appeared that he has a technique where he does the bottom lip sucking. Now, see, not every woman is not into that. I think for maybe the man, and with her being as timid as she is in a physical sense, and she's not taking the lead, I think he might have been well adapted to have allowed her to take the lead in the kissing. And then that way he could have found out, because he may actually be a good kisser, but they may have somewhat different viewpoints on kissing. Does that kind of make sense? Right. So, like, you can adjust your style to your lover depending on what their style is. Right. So, assuming that all things was fresh and clean and minty fresh in the mouth, I think he should have allowed her to take the lead, because the thing I noticed about Greg that is really starting to stand out to me, I didn't see it from the first episode. Greg is very domineering physically. And that, for
Mm.
a person that is shy or has been through any type of physical trauma, that might be overwhelming.
Right. So she
See?
needs to say that. She needs to
Yes,
communicate
she does.
that. If
She needs
that's
to
the
communicate.
case, because that if that's part of his personality, then that's something that's going to continue to show up while he's around her in different forms. And if that's triggering for her or a turn off, she needs to state that, because otherwise he's not going to know. And
Mm, okay.
yes, part of intimacy is getting to know what turns your person on, what turns them off, how they like to be kissed, how they like to be touched. Is it the shoulder rub? Is it the scalp, the Indian head massage? Is it the cosign? Is like, what is it? Like, you're
Mm,
learning the person.
yes.
That's a part of intimacy as well. That's why it's called an intimate connection, because you're seeing how
Yeah.
you align without necessarily having sex, but you're to know each other in a lot more depth than just hi, bye, good night, good morning, how's your day, right? So um, I think Greg and Millie. The concerning thing for me is that for the 3 years that they've been talking,
Hmm.
same state, never met.
Same
That was
city. Same
concerning
city.
enough.
Right.
Same city, yeah, same city, right? Never met. That was concerning enough.
Yes.
Now that you have met and you spent time together, you felt comfortable enough to get into the swimming gear, jump in the pool with each other, probably sip on some beers, brews, and wines together,
Yeah. Look,
you
they
know,
were sipping on some
get
adult
cozy.
beverages. Hmm. Yes.
Exactly. And then, so now you're relaxed, you've had some libations,
Hmm.
and then he leans in for the kiss, and you have a problem with it because it's not romantic enough, and it's not. So I think the kiss just turned her off. I think she is like, no, no. She sounded like she regretted it happening,
Ooh.
and that's going to be a. I think that would be a blow if she tells him that, if she tells him how she really feels, or how that made her feel. It'll be interesting to see if he recalibrates his approach or if she does.
El Cid, uh, podcaster and YouTuber extraordinaire, says that Greg flies through caution signs. Remember, he said that in an earlier episode. Yes, he did. And then she says, "Is it possible? Is it possibly a consent issue?" Millie made it seem like he insisted on kissing. What are your
Well, this
thoughts
is the
about that?
thing. Did
Mhm.
did he say 1, 2, 3, let's kiss now? No. I don't think he even said, you know what, baby, I'm gonna lean in for the kiss. He didn't telegraph it. It was
I,
organic in the sense that they were in a
mm,
close setting, in close proximity, relaxed around
mhm.
each other, and he leaned in and he initiated the move. That's what organic is. The vibe was there,
Yeah.
and he felt that he could do that. So she's probably looking for some over romantic gesture, trying to get that outcome, and he didn't do that. Whatever it was she's
I think
looking for, she needs to communicate that. Otherwise, he's just gonna be playing guesswork.
I think there's some mismatches here, and maybe possibly the person's match could be here, but they're with the wrong person. I think that your boy Brandon and maybe Millie make a better fit because he's more meek and more mild mannered, and he seemed to have clicked with her. Although I didn't see him as necessarily flirting with her when he was telling her about his girl Sienna and their issues, I did see like a little bit of a kindred spirit there. What do you think about that? That matchup?
Yeah, I think I mean when you first asked me about if I'm gonna watch it, that was one of the first things I thought. Imagine if you've been talking to someone so long, then you get in this environment with all these other couples, and you start to connect with another person rather than the person you've been with. So
Yeah.
I think there's definitely the potential for that to happen. And like I said, I see it more with Jodie and Chris.
Uh-huh.
At this stage, it looks like that's quite possibly going to happen in some form because of their
Mm-hmm.
disregard for the feelings of the person they're actually with, and their
Yeah.
um, constant reinforcement and hyping up of each other, regardless of whether the person's even in the room. I've seen Aaron roll his eyes when Jodie's talking, and she chastising him for every little thing. And then I've seen um, Chris's girl, Cynthia. I've seen her feeling like she's alone. She looks so alone sometimes.
She
Like when
does.
he's talking and he's
Often.
doing his thing, she's just looking at it from a distance, and
Mm-hmm.
she just, yeah, she just. I feel sad. So
Well,
um,
she's
yeah,
another
I
one that could
think
use.
there's potential.
Oh, thank you. Okay, you know what? But she's another one, and again, I know you're gonna, and I know you're gonna say or think people don't think that I'm blaming the victim for being victimized. However, as adults and as people, if you're, I think that there are things that we all can do to improve upon ourselves, right? None of us are perfect. And I'm looking at Sandia, and for Sandia, I would like to also see her have a better self esteem. And I would like for her to get a voice. I would like for her, there are times when you can just ask a simple question. It's not about being ghetto, it's not about yelling, screaming, being overly dramatic like Sienna is prone to doing. It could be just asking a question, um, like, and asking it publicly in the moment instead of waiting and talking and thinking about it later and overthinking it. It could be just turning to her partner, which is Chris, and saying, "Do you and Jody like each other?" And putting him in the
Yeah,
spot and
well, this is
letting him answer in the moment. No, I gotta say that. I think he should answer in the moment and say yay or nay. And he could laugh it off or deflect, or he could say, well, you know what? I do find her attractive. What is he going to say? Put him on the spot. Don't be so passive all the time.
well, this is the backbone that you said that Brandon needs. I think Cindy needs to get some backbone in this moment and say,
Yeah.
listen,
Hmm.
see the way you're talking about Jodie and talking to Jodie, and you said you have chemistry. Yeah, we just vibe, we just click. You know, when you just meet someone and you just get each other, you,
Right.
like they're saying that openly in front of everybody else. So
Yes.
I
Right.
think
Right.
Cynthia needs to say, look, like the way you're cooing over this girl, you need to tell me what's up. Like you need to say, if you like her more than you like me, then we can just call it a day right now, right? Um, rather than just sitting there looking helpless and look all alone and isolated. Um, you know, why? Go talk to Aaron. He's alone because while Joey's sitting there talking to Chris, her man's available. So, but I'm saying I'm not advocating them switching partners, but I'm saying that you know if you've both been outcast by your partners to a degree, then you really should be trying to see what's up with that. Because if they're not feeling you, then if you're not going to build that connection, if they like somebody else, it's not going to work.
Right. Right. Yeah. You got. I think sometimes you just got to ask. My ex, one of my ex, his mom used to always say. She had a real simple phrase, and it taught me a lot. And I use this often when I need to. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Mm,
And that could be
yeah,
for anything.
and
Like
also,
he's talking to her. No, no, I'm just gonna say Chris is talking to Jody and he's saying whatever. She could have looked across the table at him. They're all there together, and just as sweetly could have smiled at him and said, "What does that mean?" Like you saying that you guys are vibing and blah 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 blah. What does that mean? You gotta ask people questions,
Mm.
because the point of it is that you're dating and you're collecting data. So don't ever go to the point where you've gotten eased up in the beginning and you still not collecting data because you're gaga over this person, you're smitten with this person, you're a man and she's so beautiful, you're smitten with her big booty, you're smitten with her pretty breasts, you're smitten with her pretty face, you're a girl, you're smitten with what you think it's going to be. Ask questions. Ask questions and require that people respond and that you have a standard in life, because the match that
Mm.
you make with the person, the match that you make, like to marry or even just to be in an exclusive committed relationship, it's very important, because you could spend 2 or 3 years trying to get to know this person when you missed all the red flags, you didn't ask the questions, and you wasted your time. And as a woman in your 20s and 30s, time is very valuable, because that uterus and those eggs, they ain't waiting forever. They're not.
Well, she's not in a position to be thinking about that with Chris, because they're just meeting for the first time. But what I will say is, it wouldn't surprise if, as the show goes on, the games start to get more messy. Like there might be questions like, if you went with your current partner, which of the other couples would you most see yourself with? Things
Look at
like
you.
that, and
Look
then,
at you and El Cid being on the
mm,
same page. That's the same thing El Cid just said. Yeah.
is it? Yeah, like so. I think could potentially happen, and like I said, I really don't like the fact that Chris and Jody, Joanna, I really don't like what they've been doing so far. They haven't been sneaking around or anything, but they're setting the groundwork to do that. You know, they clearly like each other more than they like the person they're with. So I don't trust that situation. Chris is openly talking about how he's a ladies' man and this, that, the other.
Right.
And, yeah, like I think he's quite brazen enough to make a move on Joanna at some point. And I feel like she wouldn't shut it down. I feel like she would be receptive to it because she's not feeling her guy. And the sad part is the time that you've been taken to speak to your person over the year, 2 years, months, however long it's been. You're gonna throw all of that away, go and make a move on someone else's person. So that I really don't want to see it happen, but I see that it could potentially happen with these two. Because
Mm.
this is still the early days. You only just known each other a few hours at this point physically. Like, you've only been around each other for a little while, and already you're talking about, yeah, me and you, we just hit it off. Nah, man, that's terrible. You're supposed to be hitting it off with your person right now, not nobody
This
else.
guy, this guy is a villain. This guy Chris is a villain. And
Mm-hmm.
to El Cid's point, Chris will play innocent if and when caught or when cornered or when questioned, but add the facts up. We as ladies have to add the facts up. You've already caught him. We already caught him when he was talking to the boys here. I was looking for the comment. Miss Iffy was talking about when
Mm-hmm.
Chris was talking to the boys and he was talking about how he's a player and he don't trust no women. You've already that's strike one. Now at least 2 or 3 times in front of you and in front of the other house guests, he has told everybody that he has this great vibe with Jody.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-uh. Nah, I ain't feeling him.
Terrible.
I ain't feeling him, and he's not right. He's not right. He's not right. And you gotta
Nope.
you gotta call it a thing a thing. If it walks like a duck and it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. Same way we're
Uh-huh.
looking at Aaron, and we're saying Aaron could possibly be from the Rainbow Tribe. I mean, a thing is a thing. I'm not waiting for the HIV test to come back positive to say, "Oh yeah, oh right, he is the rain." No, I'm sorry, no, no, no. I'm sorry. It's controversial what I said, but I'm not backing down from it. We got an issue over here, ladies, with these men who are bi, tri, and pansexual, and they giving you everything they can think of because they don't want to wear no condoms. They want to go in raw, doggedy dog style, and you're letting them do it, and you don't know nothing about them or their past, and you won't even ask questions. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Am I saying the wrong thing? Or am I telling the truth? Because the HIV rates over here in the States are saying that I'm telling the truth. I had a sister, and notice I said had. I had a sister, a biological sister, that got angry at me for saying the same thing going back probably 20 years ago. And I don't care. I don't care. I got family members that are part of the Rainbow Coalition, and I love them dearly. It's no different. I don't have any less respect or any less love for anybody. But the truth is the truth. If these men want to walk around and try everything out and then stick it into you after they've tried everything out, guess what? You may be going away with something that you can't get rid of. I'm sorry. Okay, so we're going to move on to the next banner.
Wait. Before you
Okay,
go,
because I don't want to go too far into that, but that's how I feel. I'm very
yeah,
passionate about
before
it.
you go,
I don't like all this
right.
downward crap.
I understand that. Before you go, right, I'm just
Hmm.
gonna say
Okay.
you can relax because Aaron and Joanna are not going to be intimate in any way, shape, or form like that.
I
They're
know
not
they're
gonna
not.
take it there because she's not feeling him. She's gonna go to Chris maybe for that,
Ooh.
but because she has a better connection him than she does to her own guy. So if he is part, if Aaron is part of that community as you described, like, listen, I'm quite sure Jodie's picked it up. She's a sexologist, so she would pick these things up, and that could be one of the reasons why she's turned off him. She doesn't detect that he's into her like that, or whatever the case may be. So, but you did say earlier that he has a kid, right?
I did. I was telling you that. Now I know you're not calling me on Sunday. You know I have podcasts all day Sunday. Get out of here. Get out. Hold on a second. Um, yes, I did tell
Mm-hmm.
you he has a child. He has a son. Beautiful. Looks just like him. Long, glory. I don't know what this is. I have this in my family too, where the men and the boys have these glorious long eyelashes. They could be like fake, but they're not. They're real eyelashes. And then all us women have to go out and buy the lashes. I don't understand that trick of nature. I don't understand it. That's so unfair. But yes, he has a son, looks just like him. So I'm pretty sure we don't have to do any blood test or anything. But I have my theory on that too. But we're gonna leave that alone because I don't want to be too long winded about the Rainbow Coalition tribe. I'm gonna leave that alone. But just let's
Right,
say
because
that
he was dipping and he was dipping and dabbling and scrambling and scraping for some stuff.
I think I think
Is
that
that what you're trying to
sometimes
insinuate?
people I think that sometimes people want children, and let's be real, let's be honest, let's stick to facts. There is no way two men make a child. There is no way two women make a child. That's all I can say on that. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. God didn't
Mm-hmm.
create
Okay.
it that way, so you can get mad at God. Don't get mad at me. But two men together cannot make a baby, and two women together cannot make a baby. And I know personally of people who are in a rainbow situation and they do have children because they wanted children. So let's leave it at that. Okay. So now, the other thing, we get Shay and Sienna in our next ticker. We got Shay and Sienna are in the bedroom, in the ladies' dormitory bedroom, and they're talking about Sienna and Brandon's situation. Shay, of course, is being very understanding, as only Shay could be, because Shay, as someone has pointed out, does seem to be either a little naive or I think more of a people pleaser. I think it was Babs that said she was a people pleaser, and I like that observation, and I think that's maybe more accurate to my way of thinking. I think she could be a people pleaser. So they're having the conversation, and in walks Brandon, and so, in all her wisdom, she says, okay, Shay says, well, you know what? Let me go on out of here. You guys can have the room. You can catch up and you can talk. Go ahead. What do you see next?
Yeah. I I just think she's naive. I don't think she's a people pleaser. Say she's very gullible, and I think she wanted to find a friend in the toxic psycho Sienna, and for some reason wanted to align herself with her. You know, be her little girlfriend, her confidant. And yeah, I thought it was quite telling when she hightailed it out of there as soon as Brandon hit the room. I think she again fell for Sienna of having a picture of Brandon that was based on Sienna's, what Sienna's been saying rather than what has actually been taking place. Because in her confessional, she indicated that she didn't particularly care for Brandon. And that I feel like was influenced heavily by what Sienna's been saying to her. So when she goes downstairs and she's talking to the group, I'm quite um, I'm quite glad that they set her straight and said, "Listen, he hasn't been talking behind her back. He hasn't said anything negative." And she looked
Hmm.
kind of the fool. She looked like an idiot for sitting there believing the hatred coming out of Sienna's mouth. Now, while she was down there getting that her facts readdressed, recorrected, like I felt Sienna is especially defensive and especially insecure about what is being said behind her back because I know she must have some sense that it's not going to be good. And the reason why it's not going to be good is because you don't treat that guy well. So I think she's afraid that he's going out there talking about stuff that she's either said to him or the way she treated him, and it's making her look bad on TV or making her look bad to the people he's sharing that information with. Because I don't think it's any coincidence that the other couples have now chimed in with their opinions of what they see happening, and largely they're not being hard on her, but they're admonishing her for the way she's been reacting to him. So I think she's very concerned. She wants to uphold some type of image, make it seem like her ish don't stink because that's the perception. She's a hostile, volatile person. And just by sitting with Brandon for a few moments, you can see how fast she went absolutely crazy. She was sitting there speaking to Greg about him and their connection at the same time while Brandon was talking to Millie. So why is it that you want to know what Brandon was saying to Millie, thinking that he's going to throw you
Right.
under the bus? The reason why is because you've been throwing him under the bus to everybody you talk to about him.
Yes. Yes. So, talk about
So
it.
your level of
Right.
insecurity is based on your own actions and your own hostility. If you weren't so bad mind and vindictive yourself in the way that you view him, you wouldn't be so concerned with what he's saying about you. So yeah, when he didn't tell her, and I think he was right to say, listen, when me and Millie were talking, it was private. It wasn't anything major. It wasn't a big deal. He didn't say when you were talking to Greg, what did you say about me? Like he didn't want to know. She seems to
No.
be too controlling, too hostile, and too volatile to be able to handle a civilized conversation, and that's the bare minimum. You're not asked to do anything else at this point. Just be civil. She can't do that. So
No.
yeah, that didn't go well. The little sit down turned into, you know what? Get off my bed. Get your foot off
Yeah.
my
Get
bed.
get your
Get out
effing
my
foot
room
off my
type
bed.
energy.
Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh
Now
my
she crazy.
God.
She crazy. I listen. If I'm
Is she
anybody personally,
bipolar? Is she having a
if
bipolar?
listen,
I don't
she
know.
is, but she's just too hostile and volatile, and that may be how it presents, like bipolar. One minute she's happy, smiling, the next minute she's psycho and dramatic. Right? Listen,
Right.
if I know anybody personally, that puts a cape on for her type of behavior, or tries to ignore the severity of it, or even identifies and aligns with that type of behavior, yeah, if you're not calling her
Mm-hmm.
out, then you are the problem as well, because you're enabling her, just like Shay enables her by listening to her crap and then following her narrative, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
enable that type of behavior, that's almost as dangerous as the person doing it themselves. You have to call that stuff out because it's a very insidious thing to do. Like, you've got the guy there, he's come to spend time with you in your room,
Right.
on your bed, chill out with you, and this is what you want to do. You don't care a connection no more. All you care about is, what have you been saying to her? So what have you been saying? So what have you been saying? So what have you been, yo, about 16 times, right? It's not your business. Don't worry about that. He didn't throw you under the bus. He didn't disrespect you. He didn't cuss you
Mm-mm.
out.
Nope.
He's been nothing but complimentary to her, even when she's gone nuts on him. So,
Very
I
much.
think she's problematic, and like I said, I don't expect her to have that bed next week. I hope she in her own bed at home back in New York.
Let's send her back to NYC. That's what I say. Let's send her back because you're right. I mean, like, how she doesn't get that this man, you know what? I don't think she likes him. Like you said,
Not
it
at
took
all.
me a minute. It took me a minute because I thought she did at first. When they first came in the house
Hmm.
the first week, I thought she liked him. When he came to her, she gave when they first saw each other, she embraced him. She gave him a hug. She seemed happy on the date that he selected, on the helicopter ride, the charcuterie board, out at the park, in the conversation. She seemed genuinely happy in those moments. But when we get to last week's episode and this week's episode, she's not feeling him. She's not feeling him at all. And then, if it's true what someone said in the chat, that she's told Dominique that Dominique is more her type. Dominique, with the tats on his face, on his neck, as he called it in his
Hmm.
Kojo interview. Shout out to Kojo. He's a very urban kind of fella. He is a whole different slice of a man to comparing him to
Brandon.
Brendan. They're different. Yeah, they are.
Hmm.
Thank you. They are two different people. They are cut from two different types of cloth. If you like a Brendan, then I don't see how you would match up with Dominique. And if you like a Dominique, I don't see how you match up well with Brendan. They're just two different types of men. And if you want to be rough housing
Hmm.
around, and this man putting his hand around your neck and pushing you, throwing you, pushing you across the room, and God knows what else, because that's how he grew up in Chicago. Hey, have
Hmm.
at it. Knock yourself out. He's your kind of dude. Then move
Mm.
him to New York. Move him to New York.
Exactly. Hmm. That's what I.
Yeah.
That's what I agree with that. Like, if that's, listen, if a guy like Brendan is too soft for you, and you feel like you don't respect him, you're not going to listen to him, you're not attracted to him because of how soft he is, or whatever, you don't like his approach, then yeah, try it. Try someone else. Try a Dominique. When it gets hostile and volatile both ways, then you're going to regret that, though, right? Because what you
Yeah.
actually need to do is sort yourself out, so you stop being, you stop attracting or being attracted to those type of hot-headed guys, right?
Right.
A
Right.
guy shouldn't have to raise his voice to you. A guy shouldn't have to tower over you.
Mm-mm.
Like, for you to respect him, you shouldn't have to have
Nope.
face tattoos. You shouldn't have to be gang affiliated. You shouldn't have to be none of that.
No.
Like, if you don't respect the person and what and how they're presenting to you, then you need to just nip it in the bud and say, you know what, I'm going my own way, because this relationship's not going to work. But instead of doing that, what she's doing is she's intentionally demoralizing and beating him up verbally at every opportunity she gets, and she amps herself up, right? She gets irate. She needs to get out. So yeah, and then, like I said, we're gonna come to now where when he does leave, when he does get up and say, "Listen, okay, I've tried. I'm gonna get out of here. Right? It's gonna escalate." He goes. She cusses him out for him to leave. When he goes downstairs and he's sitting amongst the group,
Yes.
you have the other
Yes.
group members. You have Chris. You have other people saying, "Look, dude, like you need to get out of there now. Like any girl talks to me like that, that's cut off. That's over. You need to get out of there, bro. It's gonna get worse." She heard that. She came downstairs, picked
Mm-hmm.
up the flowers, flung it at him. Then she goes upstairs and continues to do her face before she goes to bed. She don't
Yeah. Yeah.
respect
She
that
starts
man. She
taking
don't
her.
like that man.
She don't respect him.
Yeah,
Don't like him.
she not.
No.
Yeah, she don't like him. She don't respect him. She's not attracted to him. It's never gonna change. He shouldn't be trying to change. He doesn't have to beg and plead for her. Nothing at all. Listen, Brandon, go home, bro. There's other fish in the sea. You've got your kids to think about. You've got a whole life ahead of you. It's a failed experiment for you and Sienna. Like she's not gonna change. If this is how she's showing up right now, it's never going to change. And the good thing about it is they haven't slept together, so there's no soul ties. There's no intimate connection like that. They failed the intimacy challenge anyway. This is as far as it's gonna go. You cooking steak and fries with her is as good as it's gonna get. All right, like bounce out.
Man, you really ready for them two to split up, huh?
Yes,
You found your
immediately.
you found your you found your point. You found your tipping point with this couple. I think that
Yeah,
Babs has some good points. Babs says that we can all see. I think we can all see that Sienna has some serious issues. I agree with that, Babs. Um,
she can't see it though.
she can't see it herself. Right, because she has no self awareness.
And when the
Men,
couples are telling her that they've seen it, she's not
mhm.
receptive. She don't want to listen to it.
And I don't understand that part. I don't understand why that is, but yeah, you're right. She doesn't seem to. And I'm gonna say this. I got to go back. So the scene going back earlier in this week's episode, where Diamond and Aaron H were talking to Sienna and Brandon. I think there was a large part of it where they were trying to get through to Sienna that was edited out of the episode. And how I feel, reason why I feel that way is because we see Diamond saying to Aaron afterwards privately, saying, "Yeah, if I could just shake her, if I could do this, I could do that." That lets me know there was a lot more said, and I believe that it was said in most part to Sienna specifically about her behavior, how she's reacting, how she's overreactive. She calls it, "Oh, I'm a little emotional. I'm overly emotional." Girl, that is abusive. Don't even try to do a Dominique on us and use
Mm-hmm.
wordplay. You using wordplay, you and Dominique, y'all might be better suited for one another, because both of
Mm-hmm.
y'all do the same crap where you try to minimize what you're actually doing and make it seem like it's just a little small, tiny little thing. And everybody on the south
Mm-hmm.
side of Chicago, they all talk this way. They all push women
Mm-hmm.
around. They all hem women up in the corner. They all put their
Yep.
their hands around the woman's throat. Oh, bull crap. That's bull crap.
Mm-hmm.
That's bull crap.
Exactly. Exactly. Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was gonna say, said all that to say, getting back to Miss Wilson. Miss Wilson, I think you have an excellent point. Goes back to something my dad said a long time ago when I was just a girl, is that some women are wired to the point where they don't think a man loves them unless the man is putting their hands on them. And I think that's what basically I get that out of what you're saying, is that some people
Mm-hmm.
like drama. They're wired for drama, whether it's physical drama, whether it's verbal drama. I don't like none of that stuff. I don't like it. I don't
Right.
like it. I'm not down with it. I like a
See, the thing
peaceful.
is, right?
Hmm.
The thing is, I've learned
Yes.
I've learned that some people are born into chaos or they've grown
Yes.
up in relationship dysfunction. So that's all they
Exactly.
know, right?
I knew
So
a guy like that once.
you know, right. So if they grow up in it and that's all they know, then guess what happens? They grow up normalizing that type of stuff.
That's the word I was looking for. Normalizing chaos. That's it.
Mm.
That's it.
And unfortunately, it takes some type of intervention, either for them to go through something themselves or for them to be receptive to and open to help that allows them to change that cycle, like break that cycle, go a different path. Because if they
Okay.
don't, then it continues the dysfunction and it probably ends up magnified in their lives. So and then you start having kids and because you're dysfunctional and you've seen dysfunction growing up, then you're allowing your kids to now see that dysfunction and they're going to continue it. So there has to be a point where you stop and you say, listen,
Oh,
maybe
okay. Miss Wilson.
my maybe my attraction to aggression and hostility, or maybe my lashing out in hostility and aggression, something needs to be done about that. And you need to take the steps to change that yourself. It's not down to the person that's known you for 5 minutes or 3 months to come into your life and say, look, you're hostile, you're this, that, the other. Because clearly that's not going to work. If this is all you've known, you have to realize through self-awareness and self-reflection that this isn't the way to go. That's the only way anyone's going to do anything about it.
Yeah, I love what Miss Wilson said. She said her husband is from the south side of Chicago and he has never treated her like Dominique. I believe you. I absolutely agree. I mean, we know it's not just a
Everybody,
everybody, right? Everybody from the south side of Chicago, everybody from the city of Chicago, everybody from New York, everybody from the Bronx, everybody from Brooklyn. We know that it's not. Like LaRon can say whatever he wants about New Jersey or um this guy Dominique can say whatever he wants about the South Side of Chicago, and that's how he was raised. But here's the decision and the choice that we get to make as adults. I don't fault anybody for how they grew up, their family, because we none of us picked our family. I've got biological family that I have nothing to do with, thank you, Jesus, and I have my adoptive family who I love very dearly. And I had a choice at 30 something when I met my biological family. I spent 10 years trying to get to know them get to know me, being vulnerable to them. But what I found was that God absolutely picked the right family to place me in, which was my adopted family, because my natural biological family, they're bonkers. They're bonkers. And not only are they bonkers, they don't have any many of them, not the whole entire family, but the ones that I met, including my siblings, except for one, they don't have the same uh, personal values. They don't value things. They don't. We just don't have the same values, and so therefore, after 10 years, and after being treated a certain way and betrayed and betrayed and betrayed, I made the decision that I don't want them in my life, and that's that. That's that on that, right? So,
exactly.
it is
And
what
and
it is what
and
it
that's the
is.
thing. Like you realize that though. You actually said, you know what, these people are not for me based on how you came to that conclusion, right? But
Yeah, their behavior.
again,
Yep.
that's right. They don't align with how you do things or the way you think or feel or whatever. Um,
Right.
and that must have been a tough thing to do because
It is. It is really
right.
still. Yeah.
But that's the thing. Like it's not easy. So if you know that you are from, like, if all you've seen is a dysfunctional relationship or all you've known is growing up in a dysfunctional area, um, you know, there are some that don't, they're able to say, this is, I don't want this anymore. So I'm going to break that cycle. I'm going to put myself in a different environment actively so I create a different set of scenarios going forward. And then you have some like Dominique or LeBron who will say, yeah, you know what? I grew up here. I'm taking this mindset and this attitude with me wherever I go into my relationships. I now live in Houston. I now live in wherever the case may be. And I'm going to have that same mindset as when I was in my dysfunctional neighborhood growing up. So now you're bringing that energy into wherever you've implanted yourself. That's the problem. They need to be like, you know what? I'm leaving that mindset and then that mentality where it came from, I'm
Yes.
moving forward and I'm going to change the trajectory. That's the difference.
Expeditiously.
So,
Expeditiously. Yes.
mhm, yeah.
Yes. I love
If you bring in those
also what.
toxic tendencies, yeah, go on, go
Mhm.
ahead.
No, no, no. I'm sorry. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say, if you're bringing those toxic tendencies with you, then you're not really leaving it behind. You're just moving it somewhere else.
Moving it somewhere else. Yeah. I want to bring this to your recollection because I know you are also a panelist and co-host over on Kojo's channel. Shout out again to Kojo. I don't know if you saw this or you caught this doing the interview with Dominique. Speaking of toxic, I was like, when I knew it was time for me to sign off, I caught the interview like toward the ending. I didn't know it was on, and I was out walking, and I said, "Oh, okay." I saw it. I clicked on, and I said, "Okay." And at the point where I clicked on, he was telling Kojo, he says, "Well, I know some of my ways are toxic and yada yada yada." He was agreeing with Kojo as Kojo was trying to kind of mentor him into wellness and into a less dysfunctional lifestyle. But when I knew it was time for me to click off was when this Negro said in these words, I'm paraphrasing, he said, "Well, maybe by the time I'm 40, I'll be ready to be less toxic. I'll try then." And then Kojo asked him, he said, "Well, how old are you?" He said, "I'm like 31 or 32." And so Kojo said, "So you're going to be toxic." And I'm paraphrasing all of this. "You're going to be toxic for another 8 years." And basically, my Negro said, yes, I was done. I was done. I was like, okay, Dominique, you are who you are. You're deciding who you want to be. And that's how I felt about this family situation that I was in, that it got so toxic. I had to get out of it and I had to remove myself and close the door on all of the family members because it was just that kind of form of toxic. And I chose not to live in a toxic environment. I choose not to have toxic friends and toxic families. I choose not to. Life is too short. If you're
Mm.
blessed with 40 years on earth, 50 years, 60 years, 80 years, trust me, it will go by so fast. I'm on the I'm on the short end of my life as it stands now, unless I'm going to live to be 130. I'm on the shorter end. I've lived more years behind me than I probably have, realistically speaking, in front of me, right? So, no, I don't choose to spend the years that I have remaining, whatever they may be that God blesses me with. I don't choose to spend them in toxicity. I don't. That's a
Hmm.
choice.
I 100%
It's a,
agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like I didn't tune into that entire interview because I don't want to hear nothing like he's got to say. I don't. No, it's not a disrespect, but there's nothing that guy's gonna tell me that is gonna change my position or enlighten me on any. I don't want to know any context about him. I don't want to hear nothing about him. To be honest, he's not there no more. I'm only interested in who's on the show and the relationships that might potentially happen. He's not on the show no more, so I don't need to know whether he has his cereal with the milk first or anything like that. I don't care. Um, but I will say this. For those who encounter or are attracted to that type of guy, or even share some of the traits that he has, then it may have been a learning moment, or you know, a moment to hear that perspective. So I'm not going to discredit his interview. I'm just going to say that it wasn't for me personally. None of my friends like have face tats and move the way he does. I know people who might align with some of those things, but they're not my friends. I don't really hang around with people like that at all. Um, and again, there's a difference between growing up in an environment where you're placed in, but when you
Yeah.
realize that something's detrimental, then you got to get out of it and get away from it because you don't want to be infected by that. So I agree with you 100%. I'm not making time for no hostility, no toxicity. I don't care how pretty you are. I don't care
You sure about that?
um, what we've got going on. Yeah, I'm telling you, like it either gets nipped in the bud or it stays away. I'm not interested in arguing. I don't want to be going back and forth, and I'm not going to tolerate no one talking crazy to me either. So I like, yeah, this life's too short. I'm too old and too focused on trying to live out my years happily than to get involved in any type of shenanigans that involves cussing each other out and being called out all the time and all that type of stuff. No, spend your time wisely, try and be happy, and keep it moving.
Hey
That's what we
Jay,
should all be
well,
doing.
welcome back in. I know you were here earlier. Thanks for the support. Thank you for being in the chat. Guys, you already know that Another Round is another YouTube content creator who is doing great things over on her channel. She is growing like wildflowers, girl. Go ahead, get your money, get your ducats, girl, get your ducats. We just got one last thing I think to cover. We did everything. We did Sienna throwing the bouquet at Brendan's feet and how crazy that was. What do you think about what they showed us for next week on the Never Ever Miss? This crazy show. You had any thoughts about when they're
Mm.
talking about Millie? I believe it's Millie is saying they're going to bring her family member and they're going to bring his family member. And Millie says that she has an admission to make to him that she has had some past traumas. And I noticed that was traumas with an S, not trauma, traumas. So what are our thoughts about that?
I just look forward to seeing how that impacts their connection because clearly she was put off by the kiss thing. So maybe
Yeah,
there is some she needs to communicate to him in order for them to progress if they're going to.
yeah.
And maybe she feels comfortable running it by her friend or family member first before ultimately deciding what to say or how to address it.
Yeah, that is a very
But
good
you
point.
know,
Which
this that aesthetically, I thought that couple, you know, and this is why looks can be deceiving, right? Aesthetically, I
right.
thought this couple would work, but clearly, if there are issues, traumas, things, other things that need to be worked on, then they need to work on that rather than stay together because of how it looks.
Yeah, yeah. I'm wondering too. Now I'm still with the show. I'm still in it for the win. But my concern with this show is if they were to come back, they need to have a little bit more structure, I think. I would like to see a little bit more structure, and I see with the way they're moving Diamond and Aaron H as the kind of lead of the house elders, if you will, doing the counseling and whatnot. But I also saw at the beginning of this season when they did the trailer for the whole season. I don't know if anybody here knows on YouTube and on in books, very famous psychologist Dr. Romney, who does a study of narcissists. She is going to be invited to come one week and be a part of the house or to counsel the couples. And so I thought that's very interesting that they're bringing a lady who specializes in narcissism.
Well, if Sienna stays for that, then that will be interesting to watch.
I was just hoping Dominique could have been. Well, anyway, never mind. Never mind what I was hoping.
Now he's gone home, so let's see if Sienna is receptive to what's being said.
I think we got another one. I think we got a couple hiding. What about our boy Chris? He has some possible tendencies.
He has a high ego and a high inflated sense of self, but he
He
hasn't
does.
done anything volatile. He just looks like he's prepared to step out with Jody if given the opportunity. That's not narcissism. That's infidelity. But
Uh,
in terms of that particular aspect, yeah, let's see if like if Sienna hasn't gone home next week, then like I said, I will be very pissed. But I anticipate her being around for maybe they're gonna keep her around for that particular intervention. That might work too. With
yeah,
Narco Doctor or whatever her name is.
yeah, Dr. Romney. I think she's South Asian also, but yeah, she's very good. She's all over the YouTube streets. Like, got a huge channel. I want to say like 1 million subscribers or something crazy like that. Um, your friend here, thanks again for your support and participation and being over there on JR's channel. You guys go over and sign up, subscribe to JRX TV. He is here on this format as well as IG. I guess this is just as good a time as any, JR, for you to give them your spiel on what you do here on this platform and also over on IG.
Okay, JRX TV on YouTube is reviews of relationship TV, reality TV, black relationship shows in particular, because it's a very important aspect of your life. Your relationships can affect the way you think about things, the way you, you know, go out and be productive, and can overlap into other areas. And then on my Instagram, JRX TV on there is mainly about health, fitness, well-being. Occasionally, you may see some other vids and clips from my daily chronicles as an inspector of properties. So you get to see what I see sometimes. But
I love
yeah, the health,
love those.
well-being aspects and the relationship aspects can all overlap. And if they're not in sync and all in a good place, then something can go wrong in any of those elements. So yeah, check me out, like, share, subscribe the videos. Definitely follow me on YouTube or Instagram if you're interested. Um, but yeah, go ahead,
JR,
Aubrey. What are you going to say about my property inspections?
oh, I love it. I love, because to me, I've noticed that I've got a friend over in France, and the not only sometimes is architecture slightly different or hugely different, but also the interiors. So I think that the Europeans,
Hmm.
my observations, are very good at utilizing space. And so I'm always interested whenever you post on IG and you post in your stories. I'm always like all over looking at, oh, the minimalist of the homes, and the way things are situated. Like my friend that lives in France, their appliances are much smaller. So the refrigerator box is smaller. The stoves are smaller.
Hmm.
Everything is smaller, and yet they make it work. I'm like, this is interesting.
Yeah, like we live in, America's very large, and you have a lot more space. You have acres
Hmm.
that come with your property, things like that. In Europe, it's a very highly populated, condensed area. So you have loads of people living right next door to each other or living above each other. And yeah, you just have to make use of the space as best you can that you're given. And it's also very overpriced compared to where your money can go in other parts of the world. So it's very similar to like New York. Like New York, you can have these tiny apartments, but you're spending a fortune just to have one,
Oh,
and
I
that's
got
that's
friends
pretty
that
much
live
how
in
it is here in
NYC.
London.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. They live like in NYC. You could pay two, $3,000, $4,000 if depending on the area, the zip code, and whether it's Midtown Manhattan. You could pay a grip and be in a studio apartment, and and it could be an old building, like not a new building with the new amenities, but an old building.
Hmm.
Crazy, absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
Jr,
we have
are you?
that. Like a lot of the
Mhm.
houses and buildings here. I mean, this is a very old structure. Like in the UK, everything is old. The buildings are like 18th, 19th century, and they
Wow.
don't really like building new stuff, which is the dilemma they have at the moment. Like they haven't got enough new buildings and places for younger generations to eventually own their properties. So a lot of people are moving into old Victorian style housing,
Hmm.
or they're being left property when their parents pass away and things, they inherit stuff, inheritance. But
Hmm.
it costs a lot of money to maintain because it needs so much work because it's so old. So
Yikes.
yeah, it's a lot different. Over there, you guys have more wood properties. Over here, it's all bricks and cement, like all of it.
Bricks and cement
So there's
and what
insulation, there's mold, there's all types of things that come with that,
would you s-
maintenance
would you
wise. So
Would you
go
say stone too? Are the some of the buildings, are they actually the exterior stone, if that makes sense? Not brick, but I don't know if that's masonry, if that's some kind of, like when I see those
yeah.
buildings that are like grayish white, is that stone?
Um, nice. It's basically brick and cement. That's all the
Cement.
properties here are. You know, yeah. We
Oh,
don't we
okay.
don't have drywall and things like that and wood and all that stuff. No, because the
Really?
temperature here is largely cold for most of the year, so you have to be insulated in your homes,
Okay.
and
Okay.
brick and concrete kind of do that.
Hmm. Oh, Miss Wilson is saying that Dominique spilled the beans. What beans did he spill, Miss Wilson? And how long did you stick it out through that 3 4 hour interview? I can't. I don't have it to do. I don't have it to do in my life to do 4 hours on anybody. You are not that freaking interesting to me. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Okay, besides Ron, my buddy Ron. Ron, I think Alex and I interviewed him. It was basically 3 hours. And when we got off, the first thing I did, I was like, I gotta go to the bathroom. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go take a leak. Like, what? He talked to us for 3 hours. I love Ron. I love Ron. He is so wonderful. But as we wrap up, so I think that's all the things that are thinking. Definitely get over to JR. Oh, I was trying to say a couple times, but I didn't want to interrupt you. How proud are you of me, JR? I was able to go over under my pseudonym and grab your link because there were no moderators here.
Oh yeah, listen. Congrats, hats off to you for being able to do that and multitask.
That takes a lot for my ADHD brain to do that, to run this podcast and go over on my phone on a different device under a different name and grab up his link. But thank you. I appreciate you appreciating me, JR. I really
Yeah, I
do.
appreciate you too. Thank you very much.
I appreciate you too. We'll be back next week, JR.
Yes, and hopefully with some good news regarding Brendan and Sienna. So looking forward to it.
You don't like Sienna very much anymore, do you?
Uh, what is there to like other than maybe her the way she looks? What other qualities is there for me to really give her credit for?
Oh,
She's
okay.
ruining her own. She's ruining her own image. She's far more concerned with how bad he's making her look, but she's not concerned
Uh-huh.
about how bad she's making herself look.
Yeah, that's always scary when people don't get that you are making. Kind of reminds me of, by the way, guys, if you didn't know it, go over and check out my Love and Marriage Huntsville premiere recap with Miss Iffy. It's called Both Sides of the Pond because Miss Iffy, like JR, is also living in the UK. So that seems to be my bag right now. I remember one of my college professors saying that I was a, what did he call it? An anglophobe or something? Or not an anglophobe, but a the other one, when you do like it, not a phobe, because that's like a fear of it. What is it called, JR? Like when American
Uh,
people have a thing for like the UK?
uh, I don't know. I don't really encounter many people who have fun things to say of the UK from the States.
Well, I think it's just
Have you seen the beef that's been happening over the last couple of weeks? Where like,
no. What
uh,
beef? What beef? What am I missing
oh, man, there's some social media beef, man. Like, it,
between the
it
UK
seems
and the
like it's
US?
predominantly, yeah, the women from the UK and the women from the US going back and forth about some
Ooh,
nonsense.
Oh,
Yeah, it's
no, not the
crazy.
nonsense of it all. You're gonna have to hit me to that when we talk behind the doors there, okay? Because I have no idea, but I want to know more. File, yes, that's it. Anglophile, not phobe. Thank you. She's so cultured. Anglophile. Thank you. Yeah, because back in the day when I was in college, I think we had a lot of things going on in the UK, and I was all a flutter about it. My boyfriend for many years was 14 years was from the UK. So I guess that's another thing too. So whatever. But anyhow, anyway, thank you, Ellen. I didn't know you were still in the chat. Oh, and Ellen wants to know, she wants to know about the UK beef too. So make sure you let me know so I can let her know. Or you guys follow each other over on Instagram, and I'm sure he'll give you all the things that are thinging, Ellen. Okay. Thank you for that link. And on that note, we're gonna shimmy and shake on out of here, right?
Yeah, it's time.
It's time. All right. Night night, everybody. Love you guys.
Right. Peace. Take care, people.